Atlanta for years has been one of the top sources for the most talented rappers in America, but in the shadows, Atlanta is hiding a dark secret. In a place where the street rappers end up becoming the most popping musicians, once a gangster rapper gets on, nothing is worse than their street credibility being tarnished. And in the streets, there's one label that's impossible to overcome: snitching. For many in the rap game, portraying yourself as a gangster but being outed as a snitch can be the end of your career. There might be exceptions to the rule, but the reality is once you're outed as a snitch, the streets no longer want to hear your music. And if there's anybody that's ridden hard for the anti-snitching position, it's Young Thug. After pleading his way out of a serious state RICO case that called his YSL label a street gang, Thug returned home with one of the most solid reputations in the city. He went up against the state and didn't win, but managed to secure one of the best plea deals imaginable. And with his respect level at an all-time high in the streets, he set out on a mission to destroy his former friend and label signee Gunna. Despite taking a more comprehensive plea than Gunna, it seemed that Thug was incredibly bitter that Gunna took a plea and got out of jail before him. So from here, he started a campaign to destroy Gunna and tarnish him as a snitch for taking a plea and doing the same thing that Thug eventually did too. But now, it seems that Thug might have bit off more than he could handle, as after 2 years of disrespecting Gunna publicly and calling all of his powerful friends in Atlanta and telling them to stop supporting Gunna, Thug's own street reputation would be destroyed when it emerged that 10 years ago, in 2015, he sat down with investigators for a voluntary 2-hour interview where he told the police the entire backstory behind a high-profile shooting. Thug would claim that Peewee Roscoe, the man they had arrested for shooting up Lil Wayne's tour bus, used to carry drugs for Lil Wayne. Thug told investigators that Peewee breaks the law every day and that he didn't want to do anything to get in the way of their investigation of him.
Roscoe and Lil Wayne were more than
used to bring Wayne's drugs. Try to somebody, bro. But I don't know, because every day bro ball. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't want to like block out y'all case by saying Roscoe didn't do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
This idiot didn't do it. He gonna be home.
At one point, he even requested food and ate a bologna sandwich given to him by investigators so he would continue talking.
6 o'clock and I haven't ate.
You want some food?
You want some food?
They still ain't giving
Do
me.
you want some food? Okay, we'll get you some food.
Sorry.
We'll get it. We'll get you mixed up. Okay?
You want to see if we got some food?
Yeah, let me check and see.
Okay. Some bologna sandwich. You don't like bread?
Yeah, it's too thick.
Oh, it's too thick.
That ain't cool.
Everybody different.
Right.
That bread's so thick.
Let me let you eat, man. You keep trying to eat, man.
Yeah,
And you
I'm trying to eat.
Thug, despite his legal team crying foul at his own trial that lyrics shouldn't be used against him, he would point out to investigators in the interview that Lil Wayne had previously rapped about Birdman having an army and wanting him to go down in a hail of bullets like Tony Montana at the end of Scarface, an observation that left detectives overjoyed at this enlightening discovery.
Before the album, he said on one of the songs, he was like, I don't want no problems, I just want my money. Birdman is an army, I'm a one-man army. And if that coming for me, I'm going out like Tony. He said those exact words.
Who is Tony?
Tony Montana. Scarface. I know Scarface. See,
He was like, Birdman is an army.
Okay.
He said Cash Money is an army, I'm a one-man army. And if them coming for me, I'm going out like Tony.
Gotcha. Scarface, the last scene in Scarface, yeah.
And he would end the interview on a positive note, with investigators telling him he did great and Thug offering up his personal number, promising detectives that they could call him anytime for information, just as long as they didn't tell the world that he was talking to them.
Mr. Williams, you
Whatever.
were wonderful today.
Listen,
Yes, sir.
promises, make promises. Just we'll keep promises. Whatever you, anytime you ever think you want to know anything, tell me. I'll tell you anything. But don't tell the world.
what's your
I can't even
number?
get in touch with
Yes, you
you.
can.
Hey,
I don't have your number.
Whatever.
well, give it to me.
But now that audio's leaked, the world is turning on Thug in the exact same way he wanted them to turn on Gunna, with real street figures calling it how they see it and labeling Young Thug as a full-blown snitch too.
Whack, he was spinning the cops. Come on now, he was.
Why you spitting the cops and you're telling them the truth? Who you spitting them at?
Now he told him. Now he's like Roscoe's a junkie. He couldn't do no.
Roscoe commit crimes every. Roscoe breaks the law every day. That make the cops look at you. What the fuck are we talking about?
So if you making a reservation to tell, after you already did some telling, you booked a date to tell furthermore like a concert, y'all can't do that now, don't do that.
Say that 2 hours of spending the police is not even a thing.
Spinning?
Yeah.
How much spinning you gonna do? You gonna be dizzy in 2 hours?
Hey, listen. Hey, so
I feel you though.
Like 2 hours is crazy.
2 hours maxed out, right?
What logic, you look at Gunna as a rap, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you gotta look at Thug like a worse rat because Gunna didn't mention no names and Thug did, bro.
As the word snitch generally refers to, snitch being a noun, definition, a person who informs on someone, especially to the authorities, like the police. Informal and often derogatory, used to describe someone who betrays others by revealing secrets or reporting wrongdoings. Snitch.
Damn.
But unable to accept the reality of the situation, Thug would go on to make things 100 times worse when he decided that if he was going down, he would take down the whole of Atlanta with him, going on to call out other respected street figures in the city rats too, and using debatably flimsy information to back it up.
Young Thug dropped a snippet from a song, and he mentioned you in it.
Tight.
You heard this. He said, "Yeah, God, he tricked me for some years. I didn't know he was telling."
I tricked who?
He said, "Yeah, Gotti," this is Young Thug rapping. He said, "Yeah, Gotti tricked me for some years. I didn't know he was telling."
What told on?
Thug basically said if he's going down, everyone's going with him, and now the city of Atlanta's reputation is in tatters as the whole world has now labelled the city RATLANTA, the city of snitching rappers. But how true are the snitching allegations against Thug, as well as the allegations he made against others? Well, today we're going to look into every story and case and try and determine the real from the fake, and answer once and for all, are the streets of Atlanta still solid like they used to be, or is it now truly RATLANTA, the city of snitches? Content warning. This video is about a sensitive topic involving loss of life. We've removed any graphic content to comply with YouTube's guidelines. We aim to provide informative, factual journalism on a tragic event in the public interest that does not dismiss its seriousness. All clips are used under the doctrine of fair use for news reporting and analysis. Some points made in this video are opinions and theories. I am not responsible for third-party information. If you want to watch my videos uncut and extended, go to patreon.com/traplawross, where you can get those for just $2. Also, you can now watch my new drops on Spotify, so go search me there. Here's the video.
Please explain to me, what's the whole beef between Lil Wayne and like Birdman? Why is he trying to sue him and all that? What's the deal with that?
Lil Wayne and Birdman first crossed paths when Lil Wayne was just 11 years old, when rapper Lil Slim, a Cash Money Records artist from Wayne's Holly Grove neighborhood, made the introduction.
Wayne out my hood, so Wayne out of Holly Grove. Y'all know I'm off Apple and Eagle. We had the autograph session and told Wayne to come over there, and he showed up.
And you introduced him to Baby?
Yes.
And how old was he?
He was like 11.
11 or 12?
Yeah, about 11.
Wayne, who at the time was going by the rap name Baby D, would freestyle for Birdman, the head honcho of Cash Money Records, and Birdman would give the young rapper his business card in return.
He introduced me to Baby, and I spit for Baby, and gave me a card, and I ain't never stopped calling the number on that motherfucker.
While their mentor-mentee relationship started off innocent enough, Birdman would take Wayne under his wing and put him in the recording studio. Some say this mentorship came with a dark side, with Birdman introducing the young Wayne into a grown man's world, exposing him to a lifestyle he really shouldn't have been living at just 11 years old. Wayne's career kicked into high gear when he teamed up with another young talent, Lil Doogie, to form the Bee Gees, dropping their first album True Story in 1995. By 97, Wayne and Lil Doogie, alongside the Cash Money rappers Juvenile and Turk, begun rapping under the group name The Hot Boys, who would eventually become legendary in the South. Their success was meteoric. Their debut project, Get It How You Live, debuted at number 37 on the Billboard Hip Hop charts, and by 1999, their album Guerrilla Warfare blasted its way to number 5 on the Billboard 200 albums charts. It would be certified platinum, selling more than 1 million copies, and by just age 15, Lil Wayne was on top of the world.
Look at this little.
The block is hot, man. Next week I'll be 15. The block is hot, man.
But behind the flashy videos and platinum plaques, something deeply disturbing was going on. There were rumors that Birdman had been some of his younger artists, including Lil Wayne.
I don't know. I never in my life saw be manipulated the way that they were manipulated, This dude used to kiss them dudes, bro.
As time went on, revelations came out suggesting that Birdman was using shady business tactics with his artists. Lil Slim, the very man who introduced Wayne to Birdman, had been the first to walk away from Cash Money in 95, convinced that he was being cheated out of his album sale earnings. Juvenile left Cash Money Records in 2001 for the same reasons. And then BG, who had been signed to Cash Money in 92 since he was just 12 years old, also left, alleging that he had received 0 royalties for his early work for albums released before 1998. Even Manny Fresh, the mastermind producer behind behind Cash Money's iconic sound would eventually walk out too and take Birdman to court. In a revealing interview, Juvenile disclosed that even Wayne himself had reached out looking for guidance on how to get off the label, but Juvenile slimily told Lil Wayne that if he wanted help from him, he would need to pay. Still under Cash Money Records, in 2003, Lil Wayne made a power play, launching the Young Money label. The deal was a 51-49 split between Cash Money and Wayne, and Young Money went on to sign the biggest male and female artists in hip-hop history in 2009, Drake and Nicki Minaj, bringing about the Young Money era, where the Young Moolah Baby tagline was all over radio. But by 2013, the era came to an abrupt stop, because the money wasn't flowing like it was supposed to, and Lil Wayne's royalty payments allegedly started going missing, and his cut of Drake's massive success was apparently nowhere to be found. But worst of all, the actual music rights that Lil Wayne was supposed to co-own with Cash Money were locked down solely under Cash Money's name. But the final straw seemed to be the indefinite shelving of Wayne's highly anticipated The Carter 5 album. Wayne's frustrations boiled over in a series of tweets in December 2014, where he called out Birdman and Cash Money for refusing to clear his album. This was something that Young Thug would eagerly speak about during his 2015 interrogation.
Please explain to me, what's the whole beef between Lil Wayne and like Birdman? Why is he trying to sue him and all that? What's the deal with that?
And Bird, they fell out. Then I was like, what the hell going on with you and Wayne? Tell me. He was like, he mad because I don't want to put his album out.
At the time, Wayne was calling himself a prisoner and claiming his creativity was being held hostage, while stating how he desperately wanted off the label and to have nothing to do with Cash Money anymore. As Thug would later explain to authorities, Lil Wayne had essentially found himself in a situation where putting out his album meant that he could get sued.
So after he was just like a year and a half, he just saying free Carter 5. Man, he was like, Bird, man, this nigga dropped my album. This and that and that and this and that. So they had the word fool. You can't put out no album. That's why he's so mad, because he's like, he got the album, but he still can't drop it. He like,
so he just make money off of the album, baby.
He like, he'll say on the mic, drop my album. He can't put it out.
And then in 2015, Lil Wayne filed a lawsuit against Cash Money and Birdman for a staggering $51 million.
I always had in my mind, Wayne mad about his album not coming out. And then Wayne never said to the world, Birdman never paid me. The whole time they had problems, he always said, free to Carter 5. Free to Carter 5. That's at night, his album is called Carter 5. And Birdman, they never put it out.
But let's take a step back and look at how Young Thug came into the picture. In 2011, a 19-year-old Jeffrey Williams was just another hungry artist grinding in the Atlanta underground music scene with dreams and aspirations of working with Lil Wayne.
What's next for Young Thug? Who should we look forward to you working with? Do music? Any mixtapes gonna come out? What can we expect in 2011?
Wayne, Young Money. I'm working with them.
You are right now?
No.
Are you going to? You're going to.
Yeah, Young Money, I'm coming.
It was impossible to deny the role and influence that Wayne had on Thug's early sound. It was difficult to find any review of his early mixtapes and songs that didn't have somebody mentioning just how much he sounded like Lil Wayne. It was around 2014 when Thug begun raising eyebrows on the internet, romantically sharing drinks with his homies and rocking leopard print tutus, that he would graduate from a Lil Wayne imitator to a real deal unique artist with serious potential in the music game. His songs Stoner and Danny Glover begun popping in the streets of Atlanta and all around America, and at one point he was even rumored to have signed to Birdman's Cash Money Records too, a deal that ultimately didn't actually end up materializing, as Thug would later reveal to authorities that he felt like he actually dodged a monumental bullet by never actually signing the deal.
I'm glad I ain't signed with him. I would have been the same way like Wayne, showing I got my money, trying to sue his mother, because I always had in my mind.
But anyway, in March 2014, Thug came out with a bizarre announcement, telling the world that the name of his next album would be Carter 6, presenting it as the ultimate homage to his idol Lil Wayne.
I looked up to this fool so much I named my Carter, because a while back he was like, the Carter 5 is my last album. And then I didn't know that album was Carter 5. I was going to come up and drop the Carter 6 and just keep going to the Carter 10.
This announcement came at the worst possible time, as at this point Lil Wayne was publicly feuding with Cash Money Records and Birdman, with the timing looking incredibly shady, as Birdman had also seemingly taken Thug under his wing. Tensions continued to heat up following Wayne's $51 million lawsuit against Birdman in January 2015, and in March 2015, Thug's label officially announced that Thug's Carter 6 would be coming out soon, with this followed by Thug releasing the artwork for the project that featured himself naked under a red spotlight the next month. But Lil Wayne was not impressed, and he would go on to diss Young Thug and the album cover.
Also, before I go any further, I want y'all to do me a favor and stop listening to songs that post naked on their mother call your name.
However, Thug insisted that the album was named in honor of his role model, and he would later give his opinion on Lil Wayne's response to him to the authorities.
But he probably thought I was being funny about it, so he just started tripping on me. That nigga was at his show, he was like, Birdman. And then on my album cover, I don't got on no shirt. He was like, and that pose naked on his album cover. Don't listen to that shit. That nigga. I'm like, damn, shit, I'm on bro to you. I'm like, bro.
But anyway, Thug was inevitably forced to change the name of his album under threat of being sued too, instead going with the name Barter 6, a B being of course a reference to his alleged affiliation with the Blood Gang. He would then announce the location of his next show being Holly Grove, New Orleans, Lil Wayne's hood, with Thug telling the world that he would be pulling up, strapped with guns, or as he referred to them,
Yeah, YSL. Carter 6 coming out Friday, first show, New Orleans, Holly Grove. Meet me there, better yet, beat me there, you did. With them too. Yeah.
And Barter 6 would indeed officially release on April the 17th, 2015. Lil Wayne immediately fired back during a live performance, making his position clear. There was no such thing as the Carter 6.
If there were any other albums that dropped recently, tell them I say suck my ain't no mother such thing as Carter 6. You let them know Tunchi says suck my.
But less than a week later, this war of words escalated to something far more dangerous, as on the night of April the 26th, 2015, Wayne was on stage at a club called The Compound in Atlanta, and while this was going on, down in Louisiana, Lil Wayne's home state, Thug was facing a hostile crowd, getting booed off stage. Their rivalry was playing out in real time in two different cities, and ironically, they were both on each other's home turf. But as Lil Wayne performed, Thug's affiliates and alleged members of the Blood Gang, including Peewee Roscoe, real name Jimmy Winfrey, descended on the venue. Police would claim that they spotted Roscoe driving his own personal white Camaro, as well as claiming that they had spotted an assault rifle inside the vehicle. Reportedly, a confrontation had taken place when Roscoe was refused entry into the venue, with it being suggested that at some point he promised to spray the bus. After the show, Roscoe left the area, and while the show was shutting down, law enforcement provided Lil Wayne and his entourage a police escort to get them out of the area. But their escort ended as Wayne's tour bus entered into a new jurisdiction, driving onto the Interstate 285 when the white Camaro would pull up beside them, and soon shots from a 40 cal and 9mm handguns would riddle both buses with bullets. The investigation that followed this shocking act of violence would produce some even more disturbing findings, as the alleged triggerman Peewee Roscoe would allegedly call Birdman's phone right after the shots were fired, and once Wayne's bullet-riddled bus screeched to a halt at the Mandarin Oriental Hotel, while still on the phone, Roscoe made his way back to Wayne's location. But fortunately, police were already on the scene, and afterwards, Peewee hid the Camaro and fled to Miami. Almost exactly 1 month after the shooting, Peewee was picked up by police and arrested in connection to the tour bus shooting.
New developments this noon in the shooting of a rapper Lil Wayne's tour bus. This morning, the accused triggerman went before a judge, and Channel 2's Audrey Washington was there. Audrey, Jimmy Winfrey was hoping to be allowed out of jail this noon.
Linda, court just wrapped up a little over 60 minutes ago. Despite some moving and emotional testimony by the defendant's sister, the judge was not swayed and denied bond.
While staring down possible decades in prison for the shooting, Peewee would reportedly throw his no snitching standards right out the window, because according to court documents revealed by TMZ back in 2015, Peewee, or technically his lawyer, would tell authorities that Birdman should also be held liable as a party to the crime, arguing that Birdman's financial dispute with Wayne was the very reason for the shooting in the first place. TMZ appeared to argue that Peewee's team were essentially pointing fingers at Birdman to make sure he didn't go down alone. After the most recent scandal around Thug's alleged snitching, YSL Lil Woody would bring this decade-old article up with his own interesting theories on why Thug had been talking to the authorities, arguing that while behind bars, Peewee had told Thug to get him out of prison, so Thug and Roscoe hatched a plan to put the shooting on Birdman.
When Thug was in there trying to tell, they weren't having it because they wanted Thug. That's why Peewee did go to jail. Peewee did get convicted. This the second time he been charged with the Wayne tour bus. Peewee got convicted in 2016. Peewee went to prison. He told Thug and them, hey man, y'all better get me out of here. Go look it up. TMZ already exposed it. Peewee had turned on Birdman. They already got to it. They already got to it. I don't care about nothing.
However, in all fairness, that's not quite what Peewee's defense was arguing, as this was a motion to dismiss his charges, not to include charges against Birdman, nor Young Thug, who was also mentioned specifically. And most importantly, all the supposed claims made by the defense were in fact them simply responding to claims made by the prosecution in order to prove that the prosecution was engaging in selective prosecution, and therefore Peewee's charges should be dismissed. However, what this does arguably point to is the double standard held by guys like Young Thug and Peewee himself, because if this doesn't count as snitching, then surely Gunna's Alford plea shouldn't count either, as in both cases there were some seemingly questionable claims or admissions made by the defense that in the end had nothing to do with the prosecution of any other parties allegedly involved in those crimes. In the case of Peewee though, while he may not have been snitching on Birdman, Birdman himself seems to have tried his best to tell on himself too, as a leaked jailhouse phone call between Birdman and Peewee Roscoe would later reveal what appeared to be discussions of a payment, where Birdman could be reportedly heard telling the locked up shooter how it was his time to come out here and get his money, while adding that Peewee had done everything that he could do. Birdman would of course deny any claims of involvement, insisting that the phone call was for a legitimate business unrelated to the plot to shoot Wayne. And while Birdman and Thug were named in the indictment, for some reason they were both never formally charged.
This week, an indictment in the case stated that Winfrey called cell phones linked to rappers Young Thug and Birdman before and after the gunfire. The indictment went on to state that the shooting stemmed from a feud regarding Lil Wayne's contract with Cash Money Records.
Ultimately, Roscoe ended up taking a plea deal instead of facing the wrath of Cobb County's district attorney and what seemed like an overwhelming amount of evidence against him.
A man who shot up tour buses belonging to rapper Lil Wayne pleaded guilty and accepted a 10-year prison sentence. He had until today to take a deal.
As Peewee or Roscoe will spend 10 years in prison. The district attorney here in Cobb County believes the gang problem is getting out of control in Cobb and really the metro. We told you about a case last week in which his office asked the judge for a 350-year sentence in another gang case, so it's likely Jimmy Winfrey saw the writing on the wall.
However, he was allegedly pressured to accept the deal, and in a strange turn of events by 2018, that conviction was thrown out by the Georgia Supreme Court.
On this case, the judge interjected herself in that process, implying that if Winfrey lost at trial, she would give him a much harsher sentence. As a result, the Supreme Court found that Winfrey did not voluntarily enter the plea and was influenced by the judge, so the plea and convictions were thrown out.
By November the 6th, 2020, after 5 years in prison, Roscoe was a free man once again. Yet despite Thug's diligent public support for Peewee following his arrest in 2015,
Dale, what you got to tell them?
Free Roscoe, bang on my...
What you got to tell them, Duke? Dre?
Free Roscoe, motherfucker.
Free the human go. Yeah, free Roscoe till you free. Big B's, big C's, you understand what I'm saying?
it would appear that just a month after he was shouting Peewee Roscoe, Thug would find himself behind bars for threatening a security guard at a mall in Atlanta. Following this arrest, officers would pull Thug into an interrogation room, at which point the artist, known for his strong anti-snitching stance, would embark on a voluntary 2-hour conversation with the investigators. This lengthy interrogation audio would later resurface and spark a narrative that Thug himself might be a snitch. During the interview, investigators immediately zeroed in on their real target, Peewee Roscoe, the man they had arrested for shooting up Lil Wayne's tour bus just months earlier.
Anyway, man, what I would like to do is just talk with you and just, like I said, get background of this whole shebang of just the whole history of what's going on. I'm sure you know what happened in Cobb County, right, with Peewee and all that crap.
Oh, Roscoe?
Yeah, Roscoe.
Oh, yeah, with Lil Wayne?
Yeah.
At the start of the interrogation, they would remind Thug of his right to remain silent, not once, but multiple times.
Don't know anything about Miranda rights or anything like that, but we would like to talk to you just so you can help sort some stuff out.
First right is that you have the right to, okay? You understand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's if you are willing to talk to us. That's kind of what that's saying. Like, we haven't threatened you, we haven't hit you with a club, we haven't made any promises, but do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And despite these warnings, Thug appeared ready and willing to talk about anything they wanted, so long as he didn't have to sign any formal statement.
Not saying anything against you.
No, I feel you. I feel you.
Talk and whatever we need to talk about, but she know I talk to you about it, but I don't.
You don't have to sign that. You don't, but do you understand that though?
Yeah.
Okay.
And while Thug came to the interview on an empty stomach, the authorities were quick to offer him something to eat.
You know they
have that one.
You know they have since 6 o'clock and I haven't ate.
You want some food?
You want some food?
They still ain't giving me.
Do you want some food? Okay. We'll get you some food.
I told them that goddamn. I was like, can you have me some?
What unfolded in this conversation appeared to be a flagrant betrayal of the street code, as Thug would provide investigators with a detailed breakdown of the entire beef between Birdman and Lil Wayne, framing it primarily as a business dispute over unpaid money.
Anyway, please explain to me, what's the whole beef between Lil Wayne and like Birdman? Why is he trying to sue him and all that? What's the deal with that?
And we'll never go. So I just was like, what the hell? I said, what the hell going on, Wayne? Why you don't? I said, cause they got so comfortable with him. By then I was like, why you tripping on that? He said, it's crazy. He want me to put the damn album out. He don't even got the single out. If I put the album out, he ain't gonna do that. So I ain't gonna make him look crazy. Gonna make him look bad. I can't put it out. So that's what I was like, oh damn, Wayne want the album to be out. But deep down, it ain't about the album. Birdman ain't paid him for some shit.
And he would even piece together lyrics for the cops, letting them know that Lil Wayne had previously rapped lyrics that inferred that he might go down in a hail of bullets like Tony Montana at the end of Scarface.
So come to find out, him and Birdman got problems because he owed him. Because on the mixtape that he dropped before the album, he said on one of the songs, he was like, I don't want no problems, I just want my money. Birdman is an army, I'm a one-man army. And if that coming for me, I'm going out like Tony. He said those exact words.
Who is Tony?
Tony Montana. Scarface. I know Scarface. See,
he was like, Birdman is an army.
Okay.
He said Cash Money is an army, I'm a one-man army. And if them coming for me, I'm going out like Tony.
Gotcha. Scarface, the last scene in Scarface, yeah.
In perhaps the most damaging revelation, Thug would inform investigators that Roscoe and Wayne used to be very close, and that Roscoe was actually Lil Wayne's drug connection, a statement that directly implicated both men in illegal activity.
They're like brothers more than Birdman and Wayne.
They're doing what now, brothers?
I said them was them there more brothers than Bird and Wayne.
Oh, Roscoe and Lil Wayne were more than...
Used to bring Wayne his drugs. Like, trust them. I don't know what the fuck happened with them fools.
After this, the interrogation was temporarily interrupted by the arrival of Thug's bologna sandwich.
That's mayonnaise. Oh, mayonnaise.
Mustard smell like honey.
Oh, I mean mustard, that's what I mean. I'm sorry.
I don't want to block.
Throughout the interview, Thug made a careful dance around directly confirming Roscoe's involvement in the bus shooting, frequently saying that he didn't know if he'd shot up the bus, that he didn't think he did, but also pointing out that he didn't want to get in the way of their investigation.
They do it, he be home.
Yeah.
But just knowing Roscoe, man, that man, scrub. That fool. I'm like, you shot at somebody, bro. But I don't know, because every day, bro, ball. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Block. I don't want to like block out y'all case by saying Roscoe didn't do that. I don't know.
By the end of this marathon session, Thug had provided so much information that the investigators literally ran out of questions, and they thanked him for doing such a great job.
Got anything else you want to talk to him about?
Nothing right now.
All right, man.
Mr. Williams, you did. You were wonderful today.
Thug in turn left the door open for them to reach out to him anytime, providing his number under the condition that no one would find out about him talking to them.
Listen.
Yes, sir.
Promises. I make promises. Just we'll keep promises. Whatever you anytime you ever think you want to know anything, tell me. I'll tell you anything. Don't tell the world.
Now, this interrogation audio hasn't exactly been a secret. It surfaced on a couple of blogs years earlier and was even posted by DJ Academics at the time, but that was back in 2023. But by August 2025, when the video resurfaced, opinions on Young Thug had drastically shifted, because since his own trial, where Gunna had accepted a plea agreement before Thug and admitted that YSL was indeed a gang responsible for criminal activity in the wording of that agreement, Thug would himself label Gunna as snitch, as well as pressuring all of his powerful friends in Atlanta to ostracize him from the music community. When this audio recording came out, after talking so much smack about Gunna snitching, this interview would become Exhibit A for everybody ready to label him a hypocrite and a snitch himself. Thug would call his truth-telling an honest mistake, an interesting choice of words that got him duly clowned on, with even Tekashi 6ix9ine jokingly saying that his whole cooperation must have been a big mistake as well.
Ralo, you never made a mistake. You never made a mistake in the interrogation room, bro.
Made a mistake. So my was a mistake the whole time. That was a big mistake. So sit down and mistake in this spot.
Thug continued by saying that he told detectives that they used to sell weed to try and prove that there was no beef between Peewee and Wayne, which was an obvious lie from Thug, who in fact told detectives that it was only Roscoe specifically who had sold drugs to Wayne.
Oh, Roscoe and Lil Wayne? We're more than
He used to brainwash his drugs.
In a potential attempt to deflect, Thug also accused Ralo of telling Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis that he was willing to testify against Thug and YFN Lucci to get out of jail, an outlandish claim that had zero evidence to back it up, with Ralo hopping onto Academics' stream to say that the street code dictates that the allegations need to be backed up by paperwork.
It said, I tried to testify on YFN Lucci and Young Thug. When? What the see, that's the type of time out right there. What the that came, who the wrong this, like, where in the hell that came, where we seen that in black and white at?
Okay.
You got to be able to show the person the paperwork or the documentation on who this person told on.
Thug continued deflecting on Twitter by reposting a 16-second clip from the 2-hour interrogation that conveniently left out him telling on Birdman, Wayne, and Roscoe, and instead focusing on one line where Thug would deny that he, Lil Wayne, or Birdman were blood members.
All y'all are bloods, right? Like Lil Wayne, you, and Birdman, all y'all. So, I mean, I just don't see why the beef makes sense, though.
Blood?
Yeah. Blood.
Man,
that's what y'all said on the song.
That is entertaining, man.
Y'all say it on.
One of the first people that came to his defense was none other than Peewee Roscoe himself, who with some very suspect reasoning argued that Thug essentially did nothing wrong by telling the cops that he sold weed to Lil Wayne, essentially claiming that verbal confessions to police somehow don't count as snitching.
That's what you're supposed to do. When you go in an interrogation room, that's what you do. He told you, man, we sell the Wayne Carter weed. What the is wrong with you? You feel what I'm saying? No, a statement is this right here. Lineup selective. That's him. He did that. He didn't do that.
A point that did very little to help Thug's case. At some point, Peewee would even slip up and say that Thug did what any tax-paying citizen would do, followed by him desperately trying to reframe Thug's 2-hour interrogation as him openly keeping solid and trying to pull Peewee out of the hole.
He did what a tax-paying citizen do, a real street. Kept it solid, kept it overly real, you feel what I'm saying? Really tried to pull me out the hole.
But Peewee was also seemingly on a mission to piss everyone off and to make even more enemies, attacking a whole host of people from the Atlanta music industry, accusing them of snitching too.
Informant, Ratlo,
that's not no informant.
Yeah,
Stop it.
Rat, Woody, Rat, Do, Rat, Gunna, Sergio wanna tell it, Rat, Money,
Did you
Rat,
say Sergio wanna tell it?
Rat, Booker, you understand me? What's the other one? The Mice Nietzsche, cause he laying beside him. You understand me? Mice Burger. You understand me? What's the other? Then you got Mice, QC,
Mice
man. All them together, all of them together. QCP, all of them, they all together, the whole rack of murder, man.
This was a decision that even Woody recognized as a big mistake, saying how Roscoe had just made a whole lot of people mad who now had motives to leak more stuff, before happily welcoming Thug to the All-Star Snitch Team roster alongside himself and Charleston White.
You knew not to come on this internet. You knew not to let like Peewee Roscoe get on the internet and do what he did. You let Peewee do that. You let Peewee do that. And Peewee got you in all this stuff. Peewee got on the internet calling people rats. Peewee got on the internet saying all he said. Now guess what? He made people mad. People when they dig up the videos. You official on the Woody and Charleston White team.
And in response to Roscoe mentioning his name in the list of known Atlanta snitches, Woody made a diabolical allegation that Roscoe had a special preference when it came to his partners.
You remember we was at the Sky House? Me, you, and Thug was sitting in the car? And that damn trans vest walked past? And Thug tapped you and said, Peewee, what's up with that? And you told Thug how you stuck your diggling up in it? Don't get me started.
The replies said it all. Some accused Thug of paying Roscoe to make a statement, theories that might not have been so far-fetched, especially when you think back to a recorded phone call that was played in the YSL Trial that appeared to show Peewee Roscoe giddy with joy after being told in jail that he would be given $250,000 and a Porsche in exchange for sitting on these charges. But it wouldn't just be money and Porsches that Peewee would take in exchange for helping out Atlanta's most troubled rapper.
We for several months for a portion in the core music. Hey, come on. Hey, my chain, man.
Because interestingly enough, during his defense of Thug, Roscoe would be spotted wearing a wallet chain around his neck that appeared to be the same one that young Thug had been gifted on his birthday by Metro Boomin just weeks earlier. Others were frustrated at the culture's hypocrisy, where picking and choosing who was a snitch seemed to be based simply on personal bias rather than the actual street code. People also drew comparisons between Thug and Gunna, pointing out that Gunna was being called a rat for talking a lot less than Thug did. But now that we've covered Thug's alleged snitching, it's only fair that we also speak about his ops, and who better choice than Thug's oldest arch nemesis, YFN Lucci, Lucci, whose alleged gang went down in a similar fashion to Thug's YSL. But did Lucci and his team keep it solid in the same way? Or, as some have claimed, did Lucci himself also slip up and end up falling short of the strict no snitching rules when push really came to shove and his life was on the line too? When it comes to the beef between Thug's YSL and Lucci's YFN crews, I've already made several videos that go into incredible depth about it. In the latest of those videos, my over 3-hour deep dive into the Young Thug and YSL trial, I also break down the history of the Atlanta gang scene starting from the 2000s. So if you want all of the context behind this, you can go and check those out. But for the purpose of this video, all you really need to know is that both YSL and YFN are Atlanta gang sets with alleged ties to the National Blood gangs, with YSL allegedly led by Young Thug, hailing from the Cleveland Avenue area and being allegedly at least somewhat affiliated with the East Coast-based Money Murder Blood Gang, while YFN, allegedly led by Lucci, is a faction that's allegedly part of a larger set called ABG, aka the Atlanta Blood Gang, which hails from Summerhill and Peoplestown neighborhoods, and it's primarily associated with the West Coast originated Inglewood family gangster bloods, also known in Atlanta as the IF Gang. Now, once upon a time in the early 2010s, the different blood gangs and sets in Atlanta were seemingly relatively friendly with each other, this including also YSL and ABG, whose members would even make a music video together, like Thug from YSL and a rapper called Bloody J from the ABG, who would even put out an entire project together called Black Portland in 2014. Unfortunately, in the following year, in 2015, everything would change after the infamous murder of Big Nut, real name Donovan Thomas, a highly respected member of the IF Gang and a music industry insider, who had helped launch the career of YFN Lucci himself, with Lucci signing to the local Think It's a Game label in 2014 when Nut was a key associate. Nut's murder allegedly was committed by members of YSL, although the Fulton County prosecutors would ultimately fail to prove this during the YSL trial. This killing would launch the city of Atlanta into a bloody war between these two factions and their affiliates, while also making YFN Lucci and Young Thug each other's worst enemies. At the same time though, YFN Lucci's music career would begin to garner some significant mainstream attention, with songs like his 2016 anthem Key to the Streets featuring the Migos. But while Lucci was on his way to becoming a household name in rap, just like Thug, he couldn't stay away from the streets, and as the prosecutors would later claim, at some point Lucci's YFN crew and the broader ABG Atlanta Blood Gang would even begin making street connections all the way in Miami, Florida, where they would get affiliated with a gang hailing from the Liberty City neighborhood in North Miami, more specifically the Liberty Square Public Housing Project, also known locally as the Pork and Beans Projects, or simply the Bean. This gang set was known as the Bloodhounds, or BH, not to be confused with the Chicago-based crew of pill-crushing, chain-snatching demons with the same name. Particularly Lucci would seemingly become close with local rappers from this set, like the rapper known as CP3, with the two even releasing music together like the song No Love, which would get a music video released on the 25th of December 2020. But unfortunately, their collaboration wasn't just limited to music, because about 2 weeks before the release of the music video on December the 10th, Lucci, together with CP3 and two other Bloodhound affiliates from Miami called Litty and DaBaby, were driving around Atlanta in Lucci's Maybach. Police would later recover a video from that day where one of the occupants, DaBaby, would tell the camera how they were going to F this city up. According to reports, Lucci, who was the driver, had taken himself and his Miami hitters to the 900 block of Dimmock Street, which happens to be in the hood of the set known as 4PF, who were primarily Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips, and of course best known for the affiliated rapper Lil Baby, who for a long time has been good friends with Young Thug, with the prosecutors later pointing out how the Rollin' 60s in Atlanta had become affiliated with YSL, while also having a rivalry with the IF Gang. What followed when Lucci and his partners from Miami pulled up to 4PF's hood was captured on security cameras. At about 5:15 PM, the Maybach driven by Lucci would pull onto a shoulder, at which point CP3, real name Ravon Boyd, and DaBaby, real name James Adams, would allegedly open fire on several men, striking a 32-year-old victim in the abdomen who would thankfully end up surviving. But shots were also fired back at Lucci and his crew. One of the bullets ended up hitting DaBaby, aka James Adams, in the head, critically wounding him, and not long after, Adams was apparently manually ejected from the car, in other words thrown out, and left dying on a nearby street, with a recorded 911 call capturing the terrifying moments after the shooting when a female bystander would find James's almost lifeless body.
We need an ambulance. Somebody is laying out. I don't know if he barely. Let me connect you on the line. He said somebody just threw him out of the car. He shot in the head. He just took his last breath, man.
Given that Lucci had been driving his own luxury Maybach for this spontaneous crash out, he must have had a pretty good hunch that he was out on borrowed time. But still, between the shooting and his eventual arrest, he would sit down with DJ Vlad for an interview that would later be dissected by both fans and law enforcement.
YFN Lucci, welcome back.
What's happening? How you feeling? How you been?
In the interview, Lucci revealed the dangerous reality of his situation in Atlanta, admitting that he had to use a bulletproof vehicle for protection.
Bulletproof? GMC?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what's up.
Yeah.
When asked about the ongoing feud with Young Thug, Lucci's response seemed to suggest that their beef was beyond repair.
And the two of y'all, you and Thug have been kind of doing their back and forth. I mean, when you fired off the gun, he was making some comments on it. Is there any way that y'all could work it out?
I'm saying work what out?
Whatever issues y'all got, and I don't know what the issues are, but could it be worked out? Y'all do some music together?
We ain't nothing to work out.
But fortunately, he wouldn't get a chance to slide on YSL though, because in January 2021, Atlanta police officially announced charges against YFN Lucci, revealing that they were seeking him on felony murder, aggravated assault, participation in street gang activity, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony charges. The announcement came with the news that the two alleged accomplices, 17-year-old Leroy Pitts, aka Litty or Lism, and 23-year-old Ravon Boyd, aka CP3, had already been arrested in Miami with assistance of federal authorities. Just over a month after the December shooting, Lucci would turn himself into the police, and surprisingly, despite their heavy rivalry, Young Thug showed some support for Lucci, posting a video with the hashtag #FreeAll on social media, saying that he didn't want to see anyone locked up, op or not, with the implied message perhaps being that he would rather have him outside, where he could get his own YSL goons to deliver street justice to him. Lucci's defense immediately pushed back against the charges, emphasizing his client's innocence. And while his bond was initially denied, a month after his arrest, Lucci would celebrate his release after posting a hefty $1 million bond.
Hey, boy, home. You hear me? I had to switch the jacket inside out, man. I didn't want to come out the same way.
But then, in May 2021, just 4 months after bonding out on the murder charges, the Fulton County grand jury would deliver a 75-page, 105-count RICO indictment, ensnaring Lucci and a dozen other individuals, including ABG members like the rapper Bloody J and Lucci's Bloodhound associates from Miami, in a sprawling racketeering conspiracy that dwarfed his original charges.
Here, an Atlanta rapper, among a dozen others, indicted on racketeering charges as part of a massive gang crackdown. And that is our top story. Police say the charges are all related to the Bloods gang activity spanning over a decade.
The December shooting that had initially landed him in jail was no longer a standalone case, as it had become just one piece of evidence in a massive racketeering conspiracy, where the prosecutors used Lucci's and his YFN crew's affiliations with the ABG and the IF gang, as well as the Bloodhounds from Miami, to string together numerous different crimes and overt acts to paint a picture of a dangerous interstate criminal enterprise.
I formed a gang task force in 2019 focused on prosecuting gang members under state anti-gang laws. And that actually helped the Fulton County District Attorney's Office land this indictment, 75 pages, 105 counts in total, all against 12 men allegedly associated with the Bloods gang in Atlanta and Miami.
In a move that would become increasingly common in hip-hop related prosecutions, Lucci's own music videos and lyrics, as well as social media posts, became key evidence in building their case.
Comes up in February of 2020 when he appears to throw up gang signs and use certain lyrics in a music video called Shine On.
Specifically, the music video for Shine On, featuring both YFN Lucci and Bloody J, was cited directly in the indictment as proof of their Blood membership. Prosecutors pointed to social media posts showing Lucci in the notorious Pork and Beans projects in Miami, arguing that simply being tagged in such locations proved his leadership role in the interstate criminal enterprise. The RICO indictment brought additional allegations, including an earlier August 1st, 2020 incident where Lucci had allegedly strangled and beat up a man for simply playing the song of an op, and you probably don't have to think too hard to guess who that op might have been, before allegedly then paying the guy off to avoid getting charged. And Lucci was also accused of tampering with evidence by hiding the vehicle used in the December shooting that had caused the death of his friend from Miami. Unfortunately for Lucci, the violence that had defined his life on the streets of Atlanta would follow him behind bars. The notoriously dangerous Fulton County Jail is one of the largest correctional facilities in the country, housing nearly 3,000 detainees with various criminal and gang affiliations. The jail has become infamous for being a hub of violence and contraband, where weapons are reportedly easy to obtain.
Lots of makeshift weapons, including shanks, even a makeshift hatchet, cell phones, even a bullet, suspected drugs.
In just 2023 alone, the facility recorded a staggering 1,293 stabbings. On February the 9th, 2022, surveillance footage inside the prison captured one such violent encounter, where Jaden Myrick, also known as Setrip, a reported member of Young Thug's YSL gang, attempted to attack YFN Lucci with a makeshift shank. Lucci fought back, and a physical struggle between the two ensued. Continuing down the stairs, where Lucci managed to wrestle his attacker to the ground. The gruesome altercation lasted almost 2 minutes before a security guard finally intervened at a relaxed pace. The prison officer's body camera captured the aftermath of the incident, and Lucci was heard confronting his attacker, calling his attacker's actions sucker stuff, and asking him why he didn't want to fight fair, saying that he got stuck.
Nah, that man just snuck a nigga. You don't suck.
Put it down.
I can't want to go straight up.
Move. Listen, if you stab me, I ain't gonna step back.
The attack left Lucci with survivable injuries, and almost a month later, TMZ would report about a filing that Lucci had made due to the stabbing incident. This was an emergency motion for bond. The motion would detail the attack against Lucci, stating that his team was trying to investigate how it was possible that another inmate was authorized to be out of their cell despite Lucci being in protective custody. The motion would also reference another earlier case where another inmate had tried to harm Lucci, but his plan was stopped by a third inmate, before concluding that Lucci has been told that there's a bounty on his head and that his life is in danger, which is why he should be granted a bond. The news that Lucci had seemingly told authorities that there was a price on his head would spark some online debate about whether Lucci's legal move could be considered snitching, mainly due to the fact that the YSL indictment specifically referencing Lucci as being the target of an assault that was allegedly carried out on behalf of Young Thug, while also including another allegation that 2 other YSL affiliates had discussed obtaining permission from Young Thug to make a second attempt on Lucci's life just weeks after the first attack. Wack 100 would raise the issue on his Clubhouse show, questioning if Lucci was cooperating with authorities because his name appeared on the victim side of the case rather than a defendant.
Lucci on the victim side. Lucci know everything. So Lucci telling?
Hey, I don't know about that, but
these in here representing is telling that's what's going on.
Nah, I don't.
They represent up with all them. They ain't got shit to do with this weird country.
Y'all about to start. You don't even sound country right now. You call it country. Saying
So
half
Lucci
word
got on
brain,
that video and said he feels.
I'm just saying, he keep bringing up Lucci name. Like, why?
Lucci said he feared for his life, but then his lawyer say he feared for his life.
Lucci told the lawyer he feared for his life, dummy.
Oh, is that telling?
Damn. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying.
He wrote
out, Lucci out, bro.
However, following the stabbing, Lucci's lawyer consistently and publicly stated that his client did not want any cooperation deal and he had refused to testify against Young Thug, with Lucci refusing to sign cooperation documents and firmly shutting down any speculation that he was testifying in Thug's trial. With regards to Lucci's own case, by December 2023, 7 defendants on the RICO case would accept plea deals, leaving 3 out of the original 12 defendants to take it to trial, one of those being Lucci himself. Then, in January 2024, Lucci made a deal of his own, with the state dropping 12 out of the 13 charges against him.
Is it your decision to waive these rights and enter a guilty plea because you are in fact guilty?
Yes.
How do you plead to count 69 in indictment 23 SC 188921?
Guilty.
Lucci was sentenced to 20 years with 10 to serve, also receiving credit for time served and a crucial letter of support from DA Fannie Willis recommending early parole. Finally, on January the 31st, 2025, YFN Lucci walked out of prison a free man, having served his time without snitching, not even on his ops. And as a response to the recent revelations about Young Thug's alleged telling, fans would create lists of Atlanta rappers who had been locked up but never snitched, with Lucci's name appearing second on the list, right behind Gucci Mane. Now with a reputation as one of Atlanta's most solid gangster rappers, he'd been spotted coming out of jail, being picked up by his family in a fresh Rolls Royce and enjoying his newfound freedom. And he's had massive success with his first single he dropped since his release, January the 31st, My Truth, racking up a whopping 20 million views in just 3 months. But clearly still haunted by the tragic case where he witnessed the death of his friend. He still owns the original Maybach that shootout happened in and has now turned it into a public monument to honor the progress that he's made since this low. A shrine nearby a display of the car reads, "This is YFN Lucci's Mercedes Maybach truck. It's more than a vehicle. It's a testament to both dreams manifested and obstacles overcome. This automotive masterpiece was gifted to YFN Lucci by Think It's a Game CEO Gervin Fly Henry. Like its owner, this vehicle embodies power, luxury, strength, and now endurance. Beneath its polished exterior lies a deeper significance. This Maybach's legacy is intertwined with a profound loss, a silent witness to the pain felt when beloved friend James Baby Adams lost his life during a tragic shooting on December the 10th, 2020. As we admire this symbol of achievement, we simultaneously honor a fallen comrade who was a pivotal part of the journey. This Maybach now stands here as a monument, so on this next album when you hear hear the words, "Riding in this Maybach cost me 3 lawyers, understand its true history." YFN Lucci did get some flack for lyrics in his comeback song, where he appeared to suggest that despite his friend passing away, at least it happened in a luxury Maybach. In 2025, following the exposure of some of the biggest rappers in Atlanta, it's highly likely that YFN Lucci will go on to have one of the most promising careers in the city's history, but only if he stays out of trouble with the law and his enemies. On May the 9th, 2022, Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis charged 28 members of the Young Slime Life record label in a RICO indictment, with prosecutors alleging the gang was responsible for multiple murders, shootings, and racketeering activities dating all the way back to 2013. At the center of it all was Jeffrey Williams, known better on the streets and the rap world as Young Thug.
See this coming. Young Thug and Gunna are among 28 people associated with YSL, that's the Young Stoner Life, that have been charged in a 56-count indictment yesterday.
The indictment painted YSL as a violent criminal organization that had terrorized the city of Atlanta for nearly a decade. But what seemed like a straight-ticket conviction against one of Atlanta's most notorious alleged criminal street gangs would instead become the longest criminal trial in Georgia history, with a courtroom circus that would expose the messy reality of street loyalty when the walls close in.
So now Young Thug done come out snitching. Young Thug got a video in the interrogation room for 2 hours, having dialogue with the police about crimes and criminals, but he don't want to work with Gunna. Come on, homie, look at the hypocrisy.
Giving rise to questions about who committed what crimes, and even, far more damaging by street standards, who told on who. When the trial began, the prosecution thought they had the perfect weapon to answer those questions. That weapon was Kenneth Copeland, aka Lil Woody, a former YSL associate who himself had an exceptionally friendly relationship with police, with recordings of Woody speaking to police dating all the way back to 2015 too. Back in 2012, he even alleged that he knew about a hit that was about to happen on Young Thug's orders.
Somebody's supposed to get killed tonight.
Who?
You know who.
I don't know who. But there's so much going on in the city, I don't know who. You're gonna have to...
This is a murder that's about to take place with some very high people. And the stuff that I know right now, you know what I mean, she'll be able to help me get out of my situation.
And claimed he was willing to work with the authorities in order to get him off the streets.
The personality think that I did tell me anything. He wants him. He want him as bad.
So you're talking about Jeffrey?
He's still stupid. You know what I mean? Like, he rich. Why would you be stupid? That's why I get away from him. I go, I get away from him. That's why you never see me post. I don't know. I mean, I just hate being around.
And as the case for the YSL RICO was slowly being put together behind the scenes, prosecutors approached Woody with a deal for immunity if he agreed to testify against Young Thug and YSL in the upcoming trial. This immunity deal was crucial because Woody was facing serious federal gun charges as a convicted felon, charges that mysteriously disappeared just 1 month before Thug and the other YSL members were arrested. With that, the prosecution believed that they had structured the perfect arrangement, as Woody could testify about everything he knew without fear of prosecution. But the moment Woody took the stand, he would put on a circus show that would threaten to derail the whole case. Woody's time on the stand started with him refusing to answer basic questions and pleading the fifth when asked for his actual age.
Question.
Okay.
How old are you?
Grown.
Okay, what does grown mean?
I'm an adult.
Okay. And when you say you're an adult, what number in years are you?
I plead the fifth.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I get you to step outside to your headquarters of jury deliberation, please?
A move that would result in him being held in willful contempt.
Mr. Copeland, given the fact that you have invoked your Fifth Amendment privilege, but the state has already given you immunity under 24-5-507, this court holds you in willful contempt, and we'll see you on Monday. And we'll see if we can get some more testimony at that point in time. Take him into custody.
He would also fire his attorney mid-testimony.
Mr. Copeland, is it your desire to release your counsel at this point in time?
She's fired.
She's fired? Okay.
But most damaging to the prosecution's case, he admitted to lying to the police about everything, claiming that he had just thrown Young Thug under the bus to get out of trouble.
And the truth is, when I talked to Detective Thorpe, whatever his name is, I told him anything. And I'm telling you today, it was a lie. And today, I'm telling you, I made things up.
Okay.
Say it's the God honest truth. And I have put all the blame on him. I don't know what he did. I don't know what he got going on. But y'all got me on the stand, and I'm telling the God honest truth. Leave me out of this. I made all these stories up, put the blame on him to get myself out of the situation because the police told me they want a big fish, and I'm a little fish. They ain't who I want.
At this point, it became clear that Woody was not only unreliable, he was openly contemptuous of the entire process. The state had been fooled, and Woody's inclusion as their star witness proved to be a terrible mistake. But while Woody was making headlines for his courtroom antics, another YSL rapper, Yak Gotti, real name Diamante Kendrick, would soon be placed in the hot seat. Gotti was linked to the 2015 murder of Donovan Big Nut Thomas, an alleged high-ranking member of a rival blood gang faction known as the 5th Ward Bird Gang. At just 26 years old, Nut was instrumental in the local music scene, managing artists like Rich Homie Quan and YFN Lucci. More than 6 months after Big Nut's death, Yak Gotti and fellow YSL member Lil Duke found themselves in a high-speed chase with Atlanta police, whilst armed with an AK-47 assault rifle and a .40 caliber handgun, and driving a car that had been rented in Young Thug's name, heading into rival gang territory to retaliate for a shooting. The vehicle crashed, and following a foot chase, both men were in custody. According to reports, Gotti took the case, essentially protecting Duke from prosecution, even later posting on social media that his brother never did a day in jail and that he did 4 years with no tears. But Yak Gotti had apparently not been as solid as it seemed. After the arrest, he had spoken to police on multiple occasions, tying the guns they were busted with to a separate incident. Years later in 2022, when the YSL indictment came down, word started going around that Gotti had been helping the feds build the case. While awaiting trial in Fulton County Jail in October 2022, Yak Gotti was targeted and stabbed by another inmate, seemingly due to the allegations of snitching. He would be stuck behind bars for the next 2 years, but when it finally came for trial in October 2024, Gotti would maintain his innocence, refusing to take a plea. So far, Yak Gotti, unlike his co-defendants, had cultivated a reputation as a man committed to the code of silence that defined the streets, but that perception would be completely shattered in November 2024 when a leaked interrogation video from 2015 surfaced, proving the whispers true. Yak Gotti had been talking to the police. The footage recorded after his arrest with Duke in October 2015 showed a cooperative Gotti in a follow-up interview. It immediately became clear that he had already shared a lot of information with investigators, implicating multiple YSL members in the murder of Donovan Thomas.
As you pretty much got the gist of it, that your name came up in Peanut's murder, okay, which included Nard, that you said you know, Shannon, and Wop, Justin, Kyle, whatever you want to call him, Doo-Wop, okay, alright, and when Bushi got the call, who told her, or who suggested to her may have been involved in Peanut's shooting? They said the same name. The same names? No,
he verified the police's suspicions that the murder was likely a message to the victim's brother.
Do you think they was whoever did it, do you think they were trying to send a message to Kel?
That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. That could be the only reason they could go ahead and like you say,
he would disown YSL 20 minutes into the interrogation.
So, do your boys ever go back and do the right thing for you?
Hell no.
Not half the time.
Not that. That's why I ain't got no boys. That's how I feel. Like I used to bring my back over for a lot. It wasn't like the same love and returns. But it's like.
He then proceeded to formally identify Shannon and Nard as members of YSL and pointed out Lil Woody as a member of the 30 Deep gang.
You know what gang Woody, Nard, and Shannon affiliate themselves with? With the YSL?
Yeah, but Woody was 30 Deep.
Yak Gotti's mood visibly lifted the moment food arrived, briefly pausing to say a prayer at the detective's suggestion.
I used to find myself in a lot of help me, you know what I'm saying?
Right. So it's just like, just say your prayers, man. Say your prayers over your food. Mom thought you better.
Gotti didn't just stop with what the police already knew. He offered details on a previously unknown 2014 shootout where he was shot 5 times and an innocent bystander was also caught in the crossfire.
We right in the middle of the street, type. Everybody pull out their gun and just get to looking. I'm like, yeah.
And you the only one that got shot?
No, yeah, no. Some innocent bystanders. A lot of folks got shot.
When was this?
Like last year.
Like 2014? Where?
Our street.
When detectives questioned why his crew continued to move so recklessly, despite their industry success, Gotti pointed the finger directly at Lil Woody as the primary instigator of the ongoing beef.
I don't understand how y'all get to the point to blow all the way up and out of all of this, and y'all dip back and forth.
Who is y'all?
Just as a crew, period. Including like Thug.
Woody.
Oh, all this is Woody.
Yes.
After doing all that talking, Yak Gotti proposed that if he was released, he could return to the streets as an active informant to get the police any other information they needed.
That and everything else, I done told him what I heard. But as far as this, I have to get back to the streets and see if I have to put something together so I can get y'all information. What you mean? Like, if I was to hear, like, who did or who.
This leak landed just as his co-defendant Young Thug had accepted a non-negotiated plea deal on October the 31st, 2024, pleading guilty to a raft of charges.
Rapper Young Thug pleading guilty today to gang, drug, and gun charges. The 33-year-old Grammy-winning artist, whose real name is Jeffrey Williams, entering his pleas without reaching a deal with prosecutors after negotiations between the two sides broke down. The judge today sentencing him to time served plus at least 15 years of probation, meaning the rapper could be free as early as tonight.
But Gotti's gamble would pay off, as on December the 3rd, 2024, after nearly 3 years behind bars and less than 2 months after Young Thug took his plea deal, admitting guilt in relation to gang charges, Yak Gotti would be acquitted of all of his charges.
Kendrick, you have been found not guilty on all charges.
Young Thug's non-negotiable plea deal that he accepted in October 2024 meant that he had pled guilty to drug, gun, and gang charges and no contest to RICO and gang leader counts. In taking this deal, Thug had essentially admitted that YSL was a criminal street gang, an admission that could have theoretically hurt the chance of any defendant still facing charges. That deal ironically put Young Thug in the very same shoes as Gunna, who was famously labelled a snitch for his actions in the trial too, with Gunna being one of the first major defendants to take a plea deal. In Gunna's case though, his Alford plea allowed him to maintain his innocence while acknowledging that the state had enough evidence to potentially convict him.
And it's Atlanta rapper Gunna walked out of the Fulton County Jail. The rapper, whose real name is Sergio Kitchens, entered a negotiated guilty plea.
But as part of that deal, he would have to agree to statements read in the court that YSL was both a music label and a criminal gang, and that he had personal knowledge of YSL's crimes.
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
YSL is a music label and a gang, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang.
Yes, ma'am.
You were present when law enforcement officers stopped a vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocodone, methamphetamines, and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Gunna's Alford plea came with very specific stipulations. His statements applied to his case alone. The plea statement could only be used against other YSL co-defendants if Gunna took the stand. Yet even at the time that Gunna made the agreement, sources revealed that the state had no intention of calling Gunna as a witness. Still, the reaction within Atlanta and beyond sparked outrage. Redditors expressed complete shock at how casually Gunna was snitching. People were in disbelief that he would actually say yes ma'am in response to the statement that YSL was a gang. And the backlash was not exclusive to fans either. The most painful betrayals came from his close friends and collaborators, including 21 Savage, Future, Nav, and Travis Scott. Even Lil Baby, who was taught how to rap by Gunna himself. Lil Durk, despite having worked on music with Gunna in the past, was one of the first to take shots at him publicly. In a snippet in January 2023, he rapped "What Happened to Virgil, He Probably Gon' Tell," referencing his earlier track "What Happened to Virgil" that was a collaboration with Gunna. Lil Durk also put the final nail in Gunna's coffin when he did an interview with DJ Academics and said outright that he was a rat.
Do you believe that Gunna is a snitch? Huh? Do you believe that Gunna told? That man, I don't sit up and play games, man. That man told. You should have went in there and kept your mouth closed.
Gunna, however, wouldn't be the last person to take a plea deal in the case. YSL member Walter Murphy, who prosecutors alleged founded YSL alongside Thug, took a plea deal as well and even agreed to testify. Rappers Slime Life Shorty and Lil Duke also accepted plea deals. But even more damning, in the same month that Gunna took his Alford plea, Young Thug's own brother Unfunk would plead out to avoid a lengthy prison sentence himself. In a phone call recorded while Young Thug was still in jail fighting his charges, 21 Savage would ask Thug if he had told his brother to make the agreement, something that he swore on God that he didn't do.
But you seen your brother plea?
Most definitely.
But he said you told him to do that.
Man, watch out.
Man, on God, that's what he telling the street.
Man, on God, he kept. On that same God, he kept.
Thug then pushed the same narrative that Gunna taking his plea made it cool for the rest to do the same.
Nigga, you took a plea first, so you done never made it cool for everybody else to take a plea. Like, I don't respect that.
But unlike Gunna, years later, when Young Thug was catching heat for his 2-hour interrogation video that leaked, Thug would go on Twitter and defend his brother's decision, admitting to the world that he had actually told his brother to take the deal to spare his mother being away from her son any longer. Even Young Thug, eventually taking his plea deal nearly 2 years after Gunna's, would ultimately make similar admissions, pleading guilty to gang charges to get out early. The main difference was that Thug's plea was structured as a blind plea, meaning he didn't have to agree to factual stipulations like Gunna had, but also foregoing any foresight about a potential sentence before handing in that plea.
Since your guilty plea is a blind plea or a non-negotiated plea, the state is making a recommendation of sentencing to the court.
Young Thug had also accepted a plea to secure his release, just like Gunna did. Thug's deal also required him to admit some facts too, such as gang participation, but Thug claimed that Gunna's statement about YSL being a gang ultimately made the state's case stronger.
It's a gang. He said YSL is a gang, and he know people in this on this trial who committed crimes in furtherance of the gang. That means you did it.
Yet Gunna's statements were never used in trial, and Thug's own pleas and admissions had also validated the prosecution's case against YSL.
57, participation in criminal street gang activity. How do you plead?
I plead guilty.
Yet somehow, in the court of street opinion, these two nearly identical pleas were treated completely differently. Gunna was branded a rat, while Thug was seen as a victim of circumstance. But perhaps even more revealing was Thug's phone call with 21 Savage that leaked in August 2025, exposing the calculated and manipulative nature of the entire smear campaign against Gunna that Thug had orchestrated from behind bars while still awaiting his plea. On the call, Young Thug would desperately try to sabotage Gunna's career by asking 21 Savage for a verse so he could include it on his album Business is Business that he was planning to release the same day as Gunna's Gift and a Curse.
Man, bro, I'm trying to drop an album the same day Gunna drop, bro. You need to, y'all sent you a song, put a verse on it.
On the call, he would brag about having held Gunna down in the past and being the one who signed him.
He dropped Friday. How do you think I ain't gonna know he signed me?
He dropped Friday for sure?
Man, 100%. Friday. I can hold his back if I want to.
21, on the other hand, would suggest that Thug should have capitalized on the situation by squeezing a bigger share of Gunna's album sales in exchange for publicly clearing up his snitching allegations.
Bro, please go to the studio and do the song, bro.
Yeah, I'm finna do it. I'm saying, I don't think you should play it like that, bro.
Why?
I feel like you should have just made that come in, like cleaned his face up and made him come in more. Like, if I need 80% of everything, 70%, I'm gonna tarnish your face card. Because you guys think about it, but bro, at the end of the day, bro, you did what you did, but we gotta capitalize on everything we do in life, bro. Like,
21 would also try and convince Thug that Gunna wasn't ever really in the streets like that and that he didn't earn loyalty the same way they did, essentially poisoning Thug's mind against his former protege.
He ain't, bro. I'm saying, like, we earn a loyalty different than probably what he do to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
Not like we different, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I don't know though. Like,
he would suggest that Gunna accepted his plea deal to get out for a woman.
Deserve that. You don't deserve no did that to get out for a bro. Listen to a jail calling just straight just, damn, man. I love you, baby. What you doing? Man, yeah, I'm gonna be back with you in a minute. Yeah.
Later on the call, when Thug expressed his desire to redo Gunna's contract and get 4 more albums out of him, 21 would enthusiastically respond, telling Thug to make Gunna pay for his mistake.
Hey, tell them I want to redo bruh's contract. So I want to put them. I want to make them 4 more albums.
No, I hear you loud and clear.
You heard me?
I heard you loud and clear. Yeah. Had to pay for your mistakes, bro.
Ironically, the man claiming to be betrayed by a rat was actively trying to profit off of that same person's career, and in addition to those leaked phone calls, the full extent of Thug's hypocrisy would come to light.
I don't know, honestly, I don't know who the f did it. They said Roscoe, but I don't wanna block out y'all case by saying Roscoe didn't do that. They knowing Roscoe? Man.
When his interrogation video revealed that he had spoken openly to police about everything from Peewee Roscoe's activities in the streets.
I'm sure you know what happened in Cobb County, right? With Peewee and all that crap.
Oh, Roscoe?
Yeah, Roscoe.
Oh, yeah, with that Lil Wayne?
Yeah. There's a lot of stories, I guess, that are out there. Who knows if they're freaking true or not? You know what I'm saying?
Lil Wayne's beef with Birdman.
Like 2 or 3 months after he dropped the mixtape, you heard TMZ and all, like, he's suing Birdman because Birdman owed him for albums. And then that was when everybody was like, oh, he owed this motherfucker. That's why they did.
Just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, online detectives would dig up another piece of paperwork from the YSL trial that allegedly pointed to Thug snitching again. According to a motion filed in the summer of 2023, Thug's defense team was trying to stop a detective named Quinn from testifying that he had talked with Thug years ago in the back of his police car, a conversation during which Thug had allegedly offered up information relating to a murder that hadn't been included in the YSL trial. As part of the motion, Thug's defense asserted the claim was entirely false and that the alleged incident never occurred. Moreover, what appeared to be a response based on Detective Quinn's testimony, this supposed murder was not the murder of Big Nut and the alleged discussion was therefore irrelevant to the current trial, while also adding that young Thug had been very young during this supposed interaction with the detectives. However, this paperwork had in fact been out since young Thug's trial, and the YouTuber 1090 Jake had even done a full breakdown on it back then. According to Jake, the most likely motive for the prosecution to try and include this detective's testimony would have been to try and make Thug look like a possible snitch, so the other people in the case might turn on him and testify themselves, adding that based on this little information, there is simply no telling what might or might not have happened in the back of that police car.
Now, when I saw this motion, I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised. But thinking about it, rereading it, going over everything in my head, what would the purpose be of the prosecutors trying to bring in a detective who's been retired for years just for him to say, hey, young Thug told me about a murder way back when? What is the point of bringing this back up other than to affect Thug's reputation? If we can portray him as a snitch, showing he formally cooperated after other snitches in the case have already been exposed, which is detrimental because nobody wants to testify now. So if the prosecutors can make Thug look like a rat, maybe the actual rats in the case, they won't care to go up on the stand and say something against him. No details were given as to what he actually said. Juvenile gets picked up. Hey, what happened in this situation? I don't know what happened. Or he lied, or he did a little finesse, or he did whatever he did. I don't know. I know that people will come up with a million excuses, and I know that there's some excuses that are gonna be valid. If he gave fake information, if he gave a fake name, if he gave a fake scenario, whatever, and the detective wrote that down, the detective is gonna say, well, he gave me information. Whether or not it was valid or not, we don't know. So, no, I'm not going for Thug's a snitch. I'm not going for none of the rumors or the accusations. We don't have enough proof to stamp that.
Thug himself even tried to get ahead of this newest paperwork drama, tweeting it with the caption that this event just never happened. This will be an interesting point, as when young Thug appeared on $1 million worth of game, he would trash snitches in his usual style, and when told that some people snitched in the back of the police car, he would uncomfortably scratch his head in what I believe to be something of a tell.
They still gotta take you in. They already wrote the ticket. They already called it in. No matter what you tell
telling in the police car. You in the car getting busy.
Yeah, you think this man finna pull over and let your out the car. You think they finna pull over and let your
Whatever the case was, there would be no denying that this was yet another bad look for Thugger, and the pressure continued piling on as he continued to crash out. Meanwhile, Woody on his stream would also provide his theories, going on to say that Thug and Peewee were ready to crash out because they're the ones with the most dirt on them.
But let me tell you something, them crash out mode, because they know they the most dirtiest ones. So they in crash out mode.
He would allege that Birdman or someone else powerful had cut ties with Thug because of the snitching allegations had hurt his feelings, while suggesting that Peewee's aggressive defense of Thug was purely emotional.
Whoever it is ain't messing with him because they knew what was going on. And now it don't got Peewee started because Peewee loved Thug just like a lot of us do. And Peewee got on this internet and he ran his mouth and he bring up our name and he just ain't thinking. He react off his emotion. Just like me.
As more evidence surfaced that suggested that Thug had a long history of talking to the police, the streets begun to reach their own conclusions about Thug being ready to throw his homies under the bus for 2 hours straight without a second thought, just to try and get the police off his own back. On YouTube, some fans would also turn on Thug, with some saying he was a worse snitch than Gunna, and that he'd been a hypocrite for calling Gunna out, when really he had done far worse. Others, however, would take this with a grain of salt, disregarding the hypocrite that Thug had been exposed as, simply asking for music. Gunna himself, though, has been largely quiet and has let his success speak for itself. After a rough start following his release, release in December 2022, he slowly built his career back up stronger than ever, while also immediately starting his impressive physical transformation after becoming a free man and getting in impeccable shape, while Young Thug was still sat behind bars surviving on chocolate and chips, and apparently gossiping all day on the phone in recorded jail calls, which he would later come to regret.
So my workout journey started after my release. Was working out in jail a little bit, but like when I got out, I started doing runs, like 3-mile runs, trails in the back of my house.
6 months after striking his plea deal in June 2023, Gunna released his album A Gift and a Curse, a project which addressed his legal struggles and maintained his innocence, debuting at number 3 on the Billboard 200. This was followed directly by Thug's Business is Business a week later, a collection of older, mostly already recorded material pieced together as a project during his incarceration, which debuted at number 2. But the reviews were mixed, and the album was heavily criticized for its lack of creativity and repetitiveness. Its lack of replayability reflected in the 11 weeks that it spent in the charts, while Gunna's Gift and a Curse ended up spending 43 weeks on the charts. Leaked jail phone calls later revealed that Thug had attempted to ruin Gunna's rollout by releasing his album Business is Business on the very same day.
I can hold his back if I want to. If my album don't be ready, I can hold it back. But Drake already sent the song called, the name of my album, I'm gonna drop my album on the same day he dropped, and it's called Business is Business.
During this time, Thug apparently felt let down by Lil Durk, who had promised him a verse for his Business is Business project, but never followed through.
I done sent him a few songs, he just like, I know for sure going right up. He just got down, taking his time, you know.
Man, that's
4-5 days,
yeah.
10 days later, just like that little type shit like, man, you got going on, man.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, I already know what you mean.
Like, man, you gonna do too much for you, man. Watch out.
Yeah.
He did that
Yeah,
to
when
my
this shit
album,
dropped.
so yeah, I wanted them on
For
my
real?
album. Yeah.
But even while dealing with subliminal insults from Lil Baby, Lil Durk, and more over his snitching allegations, Gunna kept it pushing. His next album, One of One, dropped in May 2024, showcasing his signature melodic style and proving to be another commercial success, debuting at number 2 on the Billboard 200, further solidifying his successful comeback. And both of Gunna's albums post-plea ended up outperforming Thug's Business is Business in terms of both Billboard chart longevity and streaming numbers. Then in October 2024, Thug took a plea deal and got released from jail too. His probation terms prohibited him from promoting any criminal street activity, including using hand signs, terminology, or language related to it. That directly affected what he could rap about, but at the same time, expectations for his releases were at an all-time high, with one post on the Young Thug subreddit reading 36 hours later, no first day out, showing that the fans were waiting impatiently for his comeback. But according to his sister, Thug needed time to heal mentally. Up until that point, Gunna had shown nothing but love and support for Thug, but now that Thug was back out and able to use social media, he publicly shunned Gunna and refused to support, telling him to stop acting like they're friends and saying that he doesn't even know him, seemingly enjoying the power that he now held over Gunna's image, while at the same time, perhaps also becoming nervous and jealous that his power could be slowly fading away. Then, when Gunna decided to fully move on by covering up his YSL tattoo, Thug was in the comments saying, I mean, he did just say that YSL must end, once again showing the pettiness and perhaps sheer joy that he was getting out of dunking on Gunna. And while this was an objectively pretty funny comment, it came to show that while Gunna's priorities and focus lay solely on his music and success and being more mature about the situation, Thug had other ideas and was continuing to be childish. Thug's delayed return to music came almost 3 months after his release at the start of 2025 on Lil Baby's album Wham! On the track Dumb Dumb and Dumber, where he featured with Future, the song wasn't greatly received. It was a delayed return to form that Pitchfork called a return to business as usual. He was seemingly still recovering from his lyrics being used in court, expressing that he had to watch what he rapped about, not just for the law, but also for his community.
I normally like rap about cool things, you know? I just got like a few lyrics where I just rap about street stuff. And those are the lyrics that they try to use against me. But most of the time I don't rap about that type of stuff, you know?
Does it make you think twice about rapping about street stuff?
Yeah, because just like the impact that you got on the community, the youth, and not because of like the law. It's more so just like realistically, like kids actually listen to us. Like, all right, we gotta like dumb it down, so.
But interestingly, Young Thug started his verse defiantly, saying that he didn't even feel like he'd been locked up for real and he was having his way the whole time, but the leaked phone calls that came later told a completely different story. Thug would go on to continue to back himself into a corner during Diddy's Freako trial, when Thug whipped up some controversy by calling Kid Cudi a rat for testifying against the diddler. At this point, it seemed the majority of people were actually just getting tired of Thug's tough guy snitch-hating BS.
Yo, real quick though, how y'all feel about Thug calling Cudi a rat? Called him a rat.
What the f? He's a subpoenaed witness. How? How does snitch culture overlap with this when you are subpoenaed, but you have a federal subpoena?
He's a civilian.
Did Kid Cudi remove himself from hip hop?
I stand with Thug on this one.
Yeah, did he freeze? Did Kid Cudi?
Shut up, Mark.
What?
You're such a liar.
On my mama.
He does.
No, you don't.
How?
They wanted him to stop tweeting and start making music, and then he would go on to release the track Money on Money featuring Future in April. But this was badly received too, and with this being the intended lead-up single for his upcoming album I Scooty, it was rumored that the poor reaction to this song led the album to being delayed. Users of the Young Thug subreddit openly questioned what happened to Thug, noting a perceived decline in relevance and output, as well as a falling quality of music, with one user calling the performance on Money as lackluster, generic, and a little bit too safe, while another Redditor claimed he could only hope that Thug was saving the good stuff for the rest of his album. Meanwhile, Gunna caught up to Thug and even surpassed him on multiple fronts, reaching the same amount of Billboard Hot 100 entries by August 2025 and surpassing and maintaining his lead over Young Thug's monthly listeners on Spotify. And even as the whole Young Thug snitching saga unfolded, Gunna seemingly maintained his silence and mature demeanor throughout, although commentators like academics even theorized that maybe it was Gunna's team that would have been behind the leaks of the phone calls since they only targeted Thug, explaining during one of his streams that some of the leaks could only have been obtained by the lawyers of somebody who'd been involved in the case.
Jail calls. Now, if you're wondering how the jail calls are getting out there, I'm almost certain Gunna's team is leaking it to his fan pages. I'm almost certain, okay? I know they're not going to agree to it, right? But I'm almost certain that Gunna's lawyers pulled, because yes, when you're in the case, you don't have to go through a Freedom of Information Act or anything like this, and some of these things would even be available.
If this theory is true, according to Gunna fan pages, the next leaked audio may well be one of Thug dissing Future, which if true, could be the final nail in his coffin. Young Thug's narcissistic tendencies were on full display in a number of other calls that were leaked during his time in prison before he took his plea. Another leaked call would cause the mask to slip further, as Thug was exposed for being salty about not receiving a verse from Kendrick Lamar for his Business is Business album. On the call, Thug was heard saying that he hopes Kendrick does the verse and asking if Kendrick has a price to appear, and being disappointed when he was told that a Kendrick Lamar verse can't simply be bought.
With the racks, with Kendrick, Future grocery bag. Say again?
I hope he do it.
So do I. I mean, well, even if you don't get...
He don't take no money, do he?
No. He wouldn't do that. Just think about it. He does so few verses. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not just doing verses. Like,
Thug will be told the only person who gets verses from Kendrick is his artist Baby Keem, with Thug ranting about how he doesn't like Kendrick because of the way he's so selective, and asks why he shouldn't be entitled to a verse from him.
The only other person that gets a Kendrick verse is Baby Keem, and that's like his cousin or his nephew or something.
Right. He getting all the damn verses to this. Man, what the heck you doing, crazy? All that fake, I ain't getting no rapper songs. I don't be liking them type of shit like that.
Why?
Being too big, I don't want to do no feature. Why you don't want to do no feature?
Thug would go on to say that he thinks he's a superstar and that Kendrick should want to go on a song with him, suggesting the song he wanted to get him on was one with Lil Durk and Lil Baby.
Why wouldn't you want to do a feature for a superstar? Like, you ain't like goddamn Strict calling you for a song, you know? Like,
yeah.
You really got Lil Durk calling you for a song, Lil Baby, Thug, real superstar calling you for a song. Why wouldn't you do the song? We lit, and we going number 1 too. What you thinking?
Now, clearly Thug wasn't thinking, because he had Drake on his Business is Business album twice, and Kendrick Lamar, as we now know, hates Drake. But Thug would go on to rant how this is the reason why Kendrick will never be bigger than Drake, clearly acknowledging their beef and saying how Drake has changed more people's lives and suggesting that Kendrick put him on, as well as dragging Kendrick's artist Baby Keem, saying that Kendrick doesn't put him on because their songs don't do numbers.
Who bless me, that's why will never be bigger than Drake, ever in life. Never be bigger than Buddy. Buddy gonna do it right. Buddy for everybody. You know how many like Drake change? How many can take care of their family because of Buddy? Just like straight with you. Kendrick goddamn put him on. Y'all, you're a superstar. You don't ran up you a few hundred M, but you ain't put nobody on though. You see what I'm saying? You ain't even put Keem on. Cause the shit on him doing this ain't really doing that.
Thug would go on to say that Kendrick might be up a few $100 million, but he's never helped anyone, and that Baby Keem can't sell tickets.
You run you a few hundred M's up, but who you help though? You ain't really helped nobody. It's the saying. You did all that shit, but man, you ain't help nobody. Really gaining no fans off of you. Keem ain't big. Keem love hell. Man, can't sell no ticket. Watch out.
Thug goes on to say that he truly believes that if Kendrick Lamar does a song with him, Lil Baby, Lil Durk, 21 Savage, and Moneybagg Yo, Kendrick's name will be trending in the streets.
I truly believe you do a song with me, Wham, Durk, Moneybagg, Savage. I truly believe we'll have your dope trending, like, cause it's gonna be like people in the real world with you, not the goddamn, not the rap world. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be real players and cool lit and players and like that you. Them type of people ain't with you. You gonna get like the real streets and the real people with you. You gonna get the East Coast. East Coast ain't with you, bro.
Now, this was an ironic point to make because Kendrick went on to prove not only can he do Drake's numbers, but he's also landed #1 song solo without any help, an achievement that Young Thug could not claim himself. Kendrick even had a solo #1 all the way back in 2017, where the world was still getting familiar with Young Thug. And this jail call tantrum is made even more ironic by the fact that when Kendrick Lamar went #1 again with his Drake diss Not Like Us, he actually dissed Drake for doing what Thug was suggesting he do on this phone call, calling out Drake for using Atlanta street culture just to score clout and cool points, and even specifically mentioning Thug by name, saying that he must have made Drake feel like he was a YSL gang member too. From here, Thug continued to lament how he hates how Kendrick is keeping all of the verses for himself and is sat in a studio making solo albums, and that he should have been clout riding Atlanta rappers for street cred just like Drake does.
You really trying to keep all the blessings to yourself. You really trying to keep everything to yourself. You really sit in the studio and work on the album and don't put nobody on the album. Like, God damn, bro, you ain't gonna f with nobody. You ain't gonna bless nobody. Bullshit king, like, but it's like, what the hell is you doing? You supposed to be f with me, Wham, Dirt. Savvy, you supposed to be f with us. You supposed to be calling us like, hey man, I want y'all on my album. I'm on some players this time around. I'm on some players. Like, come on, man, god damn.
Thug would then say that he doesn't even care if he does the song or not, and that he's good regardless, and he would joke how he should continue being rare and make Young Thug's album cover his only post on Instagram in 6 years so he can get millions of likes, going on to say, what does being rare even prove?
I don't know though, he'd be crazy.
Right.
Yeah. Hopefully he do the song though. If he don't, I ain't really giving no damn.
This still be good?
Yeah, over good. Continue being rare, man. You know what I'm saying? Continue being rare, man. Stay supportive.
Yeah.
Put my album cover or something, man. Stay supportive, man. All that. I ain't posting no pictures. Man, watch out. Don't care about all that shit, man. Nobody don't give no about none of that. I guarantee you, your first post you post, that motherfucker do 1 million or 2 million likes. You can get out in the next 16 years. You not finna get on here and get no 100 million likes on your post. You not Kim Kardashian, man. So whatever you call yourself doing with your internet, and if you just want to prove like, oh, I won't be on the internet, what is that proving? What they do? What you do? Instagram is meant for pictures, man. Post your picture, bro. Or just delete your Instagram.
Ironically, in another leaked call, Young Thug appeared to admit to paying for fake streams on 2 occasions. Firstly, claiming to have spent $50,000 to buy fake streams so that Gunna's Drip Season Forever project would debut at #1 on the Billboard charts over the weekend.
You know, like, the #1 album you just had right now, I paid for you to have a #1 album. You didn't, you know what I'm saying, honestly earn a #1 album over the weekend, my boy. I paid for that shit. I never said that to him. I never told him that, you know, cause we just got the plug on that. Like, you never earned a #1 album. I spent $50 extra grand buying streams, $50,000 buying streams for you to be weak.
And Thug would ironically go on to expose himself in another leaked phone call where he expressed frustration at losing the #1 slot on Billboard to Morgan Wallen, who was in his 15th week since dropping the album, with Young Thug asking around if he could buy streams to beat him too.
That would be historic.
Right.
And even if Uzi moves, we still have to deal with Morgan Wallen because he's doing 100,000 every week, no matter what.
You think we're gonna beat the boy?
Yo, my man, I'm not going to sleep until we beat him. So whatever happens.
Yeah, let's try to beat that. You still got that plug, right? That's what we did with none of them. You still got that plug?
Yeah.
This last statement, in combination with the conversation with 21 Savage, is peculiar because if after the fallout, Young Thug would have been unlikely to have bought streams for Gunna's Gift and a Curse album, and if he was caught on the phone actively telling his team to buy streams for his Business is Business album that he wanted to drop on the same week as A Gift and a Curse to dunk on Gunna, but then ended up dropping it a week later, with Gift and a Curse going #3 on Billboard and Business is Business going #2 on Billboard with a margin of less than 10,000 sales between the albums, it's highly possible that without the help of bought streams, Gunna's album may well have outperformed Young Thug's album in the first week. Perhaps we'll never know, but if one thing's true, it's that these leaked phone calls and interrogation audios have done phenomenal damage to Young Thug's reputation and exposed long-time expected fraudulent activity in the music industry to be true. One of the biggest fallouts of this whole drama would be concerning Atlanta music mogul QCP, real name Pierre Thomas, who along with Kevin Coach K. Lee would found the label Quality Control Music in 2013. The label would become famous in Atlanta and beyond for signing some of the biggest artists to ever come out of the city, with their early breakthrough coming with the trap trio Migos, whose decade-defining hit song Versace dropped in 2013, and particularly the remix version by the boy himself Drake, would create an incredibly strong foundation for the label's launch. The label would then go on to sign newer generation trap icons like Lil Yachty, and Lil Baby. All the while, their first top signees, the Migos, would keep dropping hits like Bad and Bougie, which was one of the biggest rap songs of the streaming era, with over 1 billion plays on both YouTube and Spotify. As the media outlets like the New York Times have written, QC almost single-handedly ushered in the new era of Atlanta rap in the streaming era, playing a pivotal role in making the city the modern mecca of rap, or more appropriately, trap, putting Atlanta's homegrown new style of rap music on the national and global stage. But the success wouldn't come without some hiccups. In March 2020, rumors would begin to spread that there was an internal strife in the label between Lil Baby and the Migos artist Offset, who had allegedly gotten into an altercation where Baby's entourage had jumped Offset at an Atlanta nightclub, with the video of this alleged incident or the aftermath going viral online.
They riding me. They taking me. The baby. The baby.
Baby would at the time strongly deny these claims, but rumors would keep lingering for years, with fans claiming that both Baby and the Migos were sneak dissing each other in their music, although publicly they would keep denying the existence of any beef. Also in 2020, off the heels of Lil Baby's mega success with his second studio album My Turn, would earn him his first #1 album on the Billboard 200 charts. He would go live in April on Instagram, telling his fans how he needs QC to give him $5 million expeditiously, or he'll be going back to the streets to make his paper.
Come on, Lalo, you know I ain't on Instagram, but you know I'm bored. It's either get on Instagram or go to the hood. You know what's up with me. You know what's up with me. I don't want to go to the hood, so I'd rather get on Instagram. You know what's happening? Because I told my label, they need to give me $5 million or I'm going to hustle. I can't be sitting on house, man. I get money. They give me $5 million. Oh, I'm doing what I do.
While this might have just been Baby joking around, later that year in July, right around the same time as QC artist Lil Marlo was tragically shot and killed in Atlanta, the label's breakthrough group The Migos would sue their former lawyer, Damian Granderson, arguing that Granderson never disclosed to them that he also worked for their label QC, allegedly creating a major conflict of interest where he was rather looking out for himself and the label, not his artists. QCP would respond to The Migos on social media, denying ever being nothing but loyal towards The Migos and accusing them of being ungrateful, saying that it's hard enough to be in the rap business to fight against other corporations and the powers that be, to then also having to fight with those that he considered family. The Migos would later end up dropping this lawsuit the following year, but then in 2022, one member of the trio, Offset, would sue QC directly over the ownership of his solo recordings, even claiming that P had blackballed him in an attempt to control his solo career. But once again, P would clap back, saying how the last lawsuit was filed publicly and then dismissed quietly, so let's see how this one goes, adding that everyone knows who the real problems are, while QC's rep would tell TMZ that the accusations in the lawsuit were totally detached from reality, and that Offset remained a part of the label. Lo and behold, the following year in 2023, this lawsuit too would be quietly dropped by Offset. These incidents perhaps pointing to a broader trend in the rap industry, where new rappers fresh in the game are often quick to sign deals that they later feel are unfair to them given how much success they go on to get, which one of the more business-savvy rappers of the modern generation, Corday, would explain during his appearance on the Earn Your Leisure podcast.
9 times out of 10 as a new artist, especially when you're signing to a major label, you're not going to own your masters unless you come in with the crazy dumb leverage and even thinking on that level of ownership, because most of the time when you come in the game, you're just like, yo, I need to check. Or you're in a position, most artists are in a position to where you don't really have anything. You don't got no money. You come from the, myself included, come from, you know what I'm saying, nothing. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And you're just like, somebody waves some bread at you, you like, okay, I'll cross that bridge when it come.
That's a fact.
That most is getting to bad deals because they like, man, it. I know it's a bad deal, but I'm gonna get in. This just gonna get me in the game. I don't got right now, and I'll cross that bridge when it comes. I'll worry about that later.
For QCP and Coach K though, their years of hustle would eventually pay off big time when in 2023, Quality Control would be sold to the Hybe Corporation, a South Korean multinational entertainment company responsible for developing and managing talents like the K-pop supergroup BTS. This deal, which was led by the music mogul Scooter Braun, a key player in the rise of Justin Bieber, was reportedly worth over $300 million. But just as QCP was celebrating his victory, a new drama would surface when paperwork was leaked online. The claims alleged that he had had confronted a man named Antarios Keon McClinton in a mall back in May 2010, accusing him of killing his friend and shooting P himself. This alleged incident, according to court records, had seemingly taken place a few months earlier in December 2009. According to a leaked police report, P would call the police to come and arrest McClinton before then chasing him to his car, where McClinton would allegedly retrieve a gun and then run after P, yelling that he was going to kill him, with an alleged handwritten statement from P showing him describing the events of that day, saying how he was in fear of his life after McClinton retrieved his gun and threatened to kill him. The leaked documents would also show P allegedly providing information to the police throughout the investigation into the murder of his friend, identified as Mr. Dennis, including describing the shooter and attempting to point him out in a lineup, before eventually running into the killer himself at a mall and reporting him to the police. At the time, P would respond to these allegations with a lengthy message on Instagram, saying how the recent news about his $300 million deal had gotten the haters out to attack him, followed by him explaining how he was not in the streets and never wanted to be, and that people should stop glorifying dumb stuff, while ending the message by paying tribute to his dead friend and calling the leaked police report fraudulent. Fast forward to 2025, after Young Thug's interrogation tape went viral, a series of leaked phone calls made during his time fighting the YSL RICO were leaked too. In one explosive phone call, we heard Thug gossiping with his girlfriend Mariah the Scientist, where he aired out dirty laundry between QCP and his artist Lil Baby. In the call, Thug claimed that Lil Baby, aka Wham, was the only person on the label who had made a profit for P, and he claimed that P had sold the whole label to Hybe, including Baby's masters.
Wham, the only on that label in the green that don't owe no money. Man, they sold it. But they did some bullshit. They sold out they sold the masters too though. That was some bullshit.
However, Thug would also say that QCP told him that he still has Lil Baby under him, before questioning, how do you have him if you just sold him as part of the deal?
When me and him was on the phone that night, you went to go see that said out of his mouth. But Shawty with me, Wham, I got him. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you saying that you got him on some fake cool, like, I got him, but you just sold him. You don't got him. You just sold him. You got you own 100% of this young master, bro. That's not 1,000. That's bro.
Mariah would go on to ask a kind of dumb question when she inquired why P didn't offer to sell Lil Baby back some of his own masters, to which Thug would respond that he should have just given Baby his masters back.
I wonder why he didn't even offer to sell him some of it,
Man, he supposed to gave him some of it. But I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you was gonna do that, you might as well have just went to him and asked him did he want to buy some of it back. You just gonna sell it to somebody else. If it was a price on it, I'm sure he would have been willing to pay some of it, to get a piece of it instead of you just going and having a conversation without him fully and then selling it,
Yeah,
Thug would then claim that if he owned 100% of Mariah's career and was selling it for $375 million, and that Mariah was the most successful artist, he would just give back her masters, or at least gift her $75 million.
But it's like, if I own 100% of Mariah, and I'm finna sell my label and all the rights to all the music, all the copyrights, if I'm finna sell all that and make $375 million, but Mariah, the only person with me in the green, and it's my folk, like, you ain't never took no meeting without me, like, you ain't never tried to cross me out, you ain't never did none of that. I'm gonna give you some of your masters, you see what I'm saying? I take 300 million before I take 375 million. I take 300 million and give you 75 million worth of your rights back.
To me, this was a slightly manipulative and inaccurate description of what was going on, because that's P's label. P owns Baby's masters, and unless Baby made him a good offer for his own masters, P had the right to sell those masters. And at this point in the conversation, Thug is forgetting the support and work that P put in to make Lil Baby the star we know him as today, especially when you consider stories that when Lil Baby was just a young drug dealer, he would come to the QC studios to sell weed to their artists and try and gamble them out of their show money. It was apparently Coach K who recognized Lil Baby's natural charisma and encouraged him to start rapping and pursuing his career in music. But setting that aside, back in the phone call, Thug would claim that in his mind, if he sold a company for $375 million, inexplicably conjuring up an extra $75 million, he said he would have known that this money was for Lil Baby to begin with.
Cause if I sell and make $375 million, I'm already thinking in my mind, I got to give you the $75 million anyway. So before I do that, I ain't gonna even take the money. I'm gonna just give you $75 million. And your steady growing. If you hold your 2-3 years, you gonna get you $100 million for it. If you hold it for 2-3 more years, you gonna get you $100 million. That might accumulate 25 more million. 15, 10 more million, whatever. Like, you might sell that in 3 years and get 80 million.
So Thug would claim that Lil Baby was owed his share of the company because his masters were owned by QC, having a stake in the label for being on the roster. This would be like a basketball player on an NBA team feeling entitled to the part of the proceeds when the team gets sold. but that's not how it works. Thug would go on to say that if QCP loves Baby, then he owes it to him, before saying that the company is only worth $100 million without Lil Baby, and that QCP was a sucker for selling.
If you really on some, boy, I love you. Like, man, you my little brother. Cause if you take Wham out of the picture, he probably get $100 million. If you take Wham out of the picture, I know for sure you made $275 million on Wham, for sure, 100%. He in the green, he not in the red. The label owe him. He don't owe no label nothing. Every label he signed the 2 labels. Everyone, both of them owe him. You wouldn't believe that? But goddamn, yeah, he did that was fuck.
Thug would go on to show a misunderstanding about business by saying that he thought they only sold the label, not the masters or copyrights, and suggesting that QCP had made a bad deal and that if he was negotiating the deal, he would have got $700 million.
I ain't gonna lie. See, I thought he just sold the label. I'm like, damn, boy, that's big. Like, but yo, much that coke. You sold a label for $300-something million. What the f? Man, yo sold the goddamn copyrights. You sold everything. You went out bad. Man, you could have got $600-700 million for that. But y'all went out bad. Like, bad. What wrong with that?
P had told Lil Baby that he needed to talk to him about something serious, but put off having that conversation until after the label sale went through. Again, using a slightly misleading metaphor, comparing the situation to having gotten another girl pregnant.
But now you telling Wham, hold on, I need to talk to you about something serious, but you just holding him off. It's like me telling you, I need to talk to you about something serious. I got a pregnant, but I ain't telling you what it is. I'm just like, baby, I need to talk to you. Baby, it's serious. But I'm trying to wait till I get the abortion. To tell you, you know, like that. Like, now I got the abortion. Now it came out on the internet. Boom, Young Thug has a girl pregnant, but paid for the abortion. Now I'm just telling you, like, man, that's what I've been trying to talk to you about. Man, you could have been talking to me about that. Goddamn, you know what I mean? You keep going, I need to talk to you about something. Man, like, what's up? What's up? Talk.
Thug would go on to make a bold claim, saying that Baby could have stopped the deal going through and that they're only buying the label because of Lil Baby and because the Migos lost money, but also pointing out that some of the Migos members did actually get their masters back before the deal.
We gonna talk. Yeah, you trying to say that until you get the deal done, because you know Wham can stop the deal. You know what I'm saying? The people only buying your label because of Wham. They not buying your label because no Migos in the red. You know, money, huh? Watch out. In the red. You know what I'm saying? Like, one or two of them done bought their back from you anyway. Done gave you $15-20 million of they little hard-earned money. Bought their back, so you them sure got all them anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, man, you 100% wrong. I wouldn't ever do like that, especially to like Wham. It's solid.
Thug would actually go on to say that Scooter Braun contacted Lil Baby first about buying his masters, but Baby said that he can't take the meeting without P, and so according to Thug, Scooter went ahead and took a private meeting with P.
He not gonna cross you out, he ain't doing none of that. That says, Scooter Braun DM'd him, said, yo, bro, let's have a meeting. He told Scooter Braun, I'm bring P. Scooter Braun like, you ain't gonna need to bring P. Wham like, man, I don't really be doing that with Scooter Braun. He told Wham that. Wham like, I don't really be doing no business with that, bro. You know what I'm saying? That my big homie, bro. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never doing that with bro. Like, shout out part of everything I do. Scooter Braun like, okay, cool. He stopped him Wham and hit P. P went straight and took the meeting without Wham.
Thug would even claim that he had asked Lil Baby how much he thought he'd be getting out of the deal, and he said that Baby told him he didn't think he'd be getting more than 10 to 15 million.
I talked to Wham on the phone. I said, what you think he gonna give you out that money? I said, you think he gonna give you 75 million or 100 million? He like, I'm like, be always real. You think he gonna give you 75 to 100 million out that deal? Be always real. He like, hell no, I don't think he's gonna do it right like that. Wham said, I know he ain't finna give me 75 million. I said, you think he'll give you a 50? He like, hell no, I don't think he gonna come out no 50. He gonna try to play some game. Why would I tell you? He gonna try to play game. I'm like, damn, bro, that's crazy. Crazy that you didn't know it. I knew I was talking, but I just wanted to hear what Wham was saying. Like, what you think he gonna do? Wham like, I don't know. He said he probably try to come 10-15 million. Like that, like.
But then Thug would say something that didn't quite make sense. He would claim that Scooter had already offered Lil Baby $150 million for his catalogue and that he wanted to buy him out of his deal with P, but Baby said that he needed P's permission, which ultimately led to Scooter making the deal with P privately to buy the whole label.
But Scooter Braun offered Wham $150 million. Scooter Braun told Wham, I want to buy your rights, so I'm gonna give you $150 million. Wham said this, nah, I'm cool. I gotta bring P to the meeting. Man, Went straight around Wham and called P and bought the whole label from P. The whole conversation started from Scooter Braun trying to buy Lil Wham, trying to buy him out of the deal too. He wanted to buy Wham out of the deal. Like, I want you to be with me. Wham like, you gotta talk to P. We gotta talk to P about that. Man, P crossed that red hot, worst way.
This call apparently had taken place before the deal was finalized, and Thug would go on to speculate that P would only be giving Lil Yachty 2 to 3 million and Baby 20 million.
You know, try some. He gonna get Yachty 2-3 million. You gonna try to get Wham by the dub. Knowing damn well you gonna get a real 7,500 million of that money, but sure.
In this conversation, Thug's girlfriend Mariah would have a lot to say too, explaining how she was at an event where QCP had claimed that he was signing a gospel group, with her assuming that he was going to exploit this group.
I was listening to him talk, and then he was just like, "Yeah, man, we finna sign this gospel thing, this gospel group. Yeah, we going all the way. We taking the whole market share. I mean, what is it called? Market share." And I was thinking to myself, you finna exploit this gospel group so that you can have the biggest possible market share you can get of all genres. Like, at that point, I just started thinking to myself, well, you'll stop at nothing.
This would be an ironic comment after Young Thug had tweeted, "If you're a rapper and a rat, you might as well make a gospel album." After this, Thug would explain how he would have spent the money if he was getting the deal, suggesting that he would have been handing out millions to people out of pure love.
You're still supposed to be solid, you know. Like, I would definitely go get me 300-400 million for sure. But I'm gonna be solid too though. Out of that 300-400 million, I'm gonna walk off with 200 though. I'm giving Wham 75 million. I'm giving Migos them 10-15 million apiece. I'm gonna goddamn give boat by 5-10 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna walk off with less than half of that money by the time I'm done. Like we did.
This would be a strange point to make, because it's likely a lot of those artists had already got paid when they signed their deals with QC, negotiating deals what they felt were fair at the time, and then accepting support from the label to keep blowing up their careers. It's ultimately up to QC to decide whether they want to sell the company that they built, just like it's the artist's right to decide whether or not they want to sign their masters away for a lower price when they were less famous. But after that, Thug would claim that all of those artists had the assumption that they were going to be getting something out of the deal too.
Because you got to think, all those artists who signed to him, when they seen that deal, I know every one of them artists probably said in their mind, "Damn, but we finna get something." You know what I'm saying? Every one of them artists probably was thinking in their mind like, "Oh yeah, but he gonna do it right. He finna get everybody something." You know what I'm saying? Now just imagine you not getting that though. Imagine you thinking like, "But he finna do it right with everybody," and not finna do it right. Just think about that part.
After this, Mariah goes on to claim that P actually invited her to his birthday party, and following that invitation he got exposed as a snitch, with her saying that he should have known better to invite her when he was a rat and her man is fighting a case, with Thug going on to say that most men don't even think that women would be upholding the street code, even diabolically pointing out that there were still women who decided to sleep with Gunna.
And you know, I told you how he sent me that invitation to his birthday party. I mean, he texted and said, "I'm going to send an invitation out to my birthday party. Come through, blah, blah, blah," whatever he said. I'm like, this is before I seen the paperwork stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be there. What's the thing? He ain't say nothing back. Then the paperwork stuff came out, like the next day. Then just today, he sends me an invitation. And I just wonder, like, does he really think in his head, you know, just based on the circumstances and things that have obviously come to light about him, especially considering the circumstance, the love of my life is in, that I would come to something like that?
Maybe you do. Maybe, you know, the crazy thing about it is, I think girls don't be on that. You know what I'm saying? That's a real fact. I don't think women be on that. You know what I'm saying? Because women really don't be on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, a woman is a woman. Women do not be on that. Women ain't running around like, "Well, you a rat." I ain't like, it's still running around like on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they run around every day, all day. Like, women don't women, you know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't on that. You know, you can't be mad at that. It's a girl. Like, what you expect? You know, girls ain't waking up like, oh, he ain't do what's right. He ain't keep it real. Girls not on that. Girls is girls. Whenever you get through, man, a girl is a
Mariah would then ask if anybody knew that QC was a snitch, with Thug saying that everyone in the city already knew, but big business people like Jay-Z probably didn't.
But yeah, that's crazy. Do you think that anybody knew that already? They knew that already?
Yeah.
Or this is new information to emerge?
Everybody knew that. Well, everybody in the city. Everybody in the rap game probably didn't know it. You know, like old, like Jay-Z, all them type, you know that. But everybody in Atlanta know.
Mariah would then ask if QCP got on the stand, and Thug would claim that he did get on the stand, and it was there that he'd said that he'd feared for his life, something that was apparently not true.
So I'm confused. So he testified against somebody?
Man, I understand. I fear for my life.
Mm-hmm.
The man killed my friend.
That's what he did?
I fear for my life. Read the
See, this is my honest opinion is that it's one thing for the police to be like, do you know who killed your friend? I feel like it's one thing to be like, I know who killed him. But it's another thing to, you know what I'm saying, testify against somebody.
Thug would go on to say something that appeared hypocritical in light of his own 2-hour police interrogation, when he said that P should have told police that he didn't know anything, and you're not even supposed to give any information about why a crime happened.
Nah, ain't no one thing to say I know who killed my friend. Man, who killed your friend?
I'm just a little confused on him, about him.
Like, the police didn't know nothing about him. P gave the information about him. Like, cause a friend died in the spot. So it's like the police get there, it's just a dead body. You know what I'm saying? You have no idea on what happened. The police is like blind to the fact. Like, he gave them the information. Like, man, this man, I know who I seen. This man killed my friend.
This was another contradiction, and by Thug's own standards, his own interrogation with the police, giving background information on crime, should have never happened. Thug would then tell the whole story behind the case that would eventually lead to the snitching allegations against QCP, explaining how P and his friend got robbed and P's friend got killed in the process.
He was in the spot. Him and his friend got robbed. Him and his friend got robbed. I think the friend tried to book. The friend tried to book on the got killed.
Mm-hmm. He went and told the police.
Yeah, I told. Right then, called the police. Stayed at the house. Called the police. Police got there. They got named Stunner. No, he left. He called the police and left. I guess it was something in the house.
Did you guess what?
I said, I guess it was something in the house, so he didn't stay in the house. Yeah. He called the pigs and left. That's a fact. Police got there. Nobody went in the house. Just a dead man. You know. He told him off top.
Thug would then even provide a version of events that was noticeably different from the police report when it came to what happened at the mall the day that P ran into the killer of his friend, with him claiming that P had actually held the killer at gunpoint while calling the police.
He left at the spot. And then he seen it in the mall, I think a month later. He called the police in the mall. Hey man, I see the man who killed my friend in the mall. Then he
lined him up and everything.
Yes, he came in the store, pulled the gun out, threw the on the ground, on the ground.
That's what P did?
Yes. P put the gun on. P put the gun on so they couldn't leave the mall. Then the police came there and got him. He made him stay in there till the police got there. He said, this man killed my friend. I'm scared for my life. He's trying to kill me.
Thug would also claim that P used to rap and was signed to Gucci Mane, but Gucci Mane had dropped him when he found out that he had cooperated with the police. But Mariah would then point out a hole in that story, noting how P and Gucci were still friends, to which Thug would respond by seemingly implying that Gucci had turned soft in prison.
He used to be signed to Gucci. P used to be signed to Gucci Mane. When Gucci Mane found out, he dropped it. Because P used to try to rap.
Well, they still friends, so how's that?
Yeah. Ended up going to jail. I gave it, got them turned soft. Yeah, that's a real fact though.
Thug would go on to claim that somebody that could be 21 Savage always wanted to leak the fact that P cooperated, and he claimed that this person swore on his mother and his dead friend Johnny that he wasn't the one who leaked it, with Thug adding that he didn't believe it, and that when P ran into this person, they nearly ended up having a shootout.
Little man used to want to leak that so bad. When I got leaked, I said, you did that. He said, my mama ain't do that. Yeah, I knew it. I know your mustache leaked that, boy. Oh, my mama ain't do that on Johnny. Yeah, on that same Johnny you did it. Damn, boy. He been want to leak that so bad. Him and P got into it. He used to be like super cool with the Migos at one point. Then him and P got into it because he hit P and said, "Man, damn, big bro, I can't believe you." Shit. Then P ended up seeing him. P ended up seeing Lil Man out somewhere and told Lil Man, "Man, I don't know if I should dap you or goddamn clap you." Lil Man said, "But you don't want to do that." That's a bad idea, Jack. You do not want to do that.
After QCP would hear the newest claims, as well as the Peewee Roscoe IG live where he labelled P as a rat and defended Thug, he would respond with a savage post that read, "Imagine some broke rats like Young Thug and Peewee Roscoe trying to run a rat narrative on me, and all my dudes that I love running with these dudes knowing that these dudes talk about me. I'm going to say this for the last time. I'm not no street dude. I'm a tax-paying citizen that's running a business and taking care of my family. All the street dudes are broke, dead, and in jail. Why do y'all continue to glorify this stuff? The streets have been dead. Y'all dudes just gave the city a bad name." And he would also correct Thug's claims that he had been in a courtroom telling on the killer of his friend, while claiming that he had never been in interrogation rooms either, but adding that he doesn't speak on the dead and that he doesn't care enough to explain what really happened, before ending by saying that Thug and others were just mad that they aren't him. But the beefing wouldn't stay limited to just Thug and P, as later hip-hop media outlets like Say Cheese would report how P and Lil Baby had unfollowed each other on Instagram following the leaking of this call, with people in the comments joking how the Atlanta rap industry was beginning to move like cliques of girls in high school. But while the beef between Thug and QCP, and both sides' accusations of snitching were certainly messy, nothing could beat what would arguably become the main event of this WWE rat down, as Thug and his once-upon-a-time friend Ralo would also begin engaging in an online back and forth centered around their respective allegations of cooperating with the police too. If you're not familiar with the story of Ralo, aka Mr. Dogfood, I suggest you go and check out my video about him from a few years back to get the full picture. But as a quick summary, Ralo grew up in a notorious area of Atlanta known as The Bluff, located directly northwest of downtown Atlanta. Known in the past for its open-air drug markets and high crime rates, with the word bluff sometimes being used as inaccurate for "better leave, you effing fool," as famously portrayed in the 2011 film Snow on the Bluff. It was there that a young Ralo would join a gang set known as the Famerica or Famgoon, with pictures on social media as early as the late 2000s and early 2010s, placing Ralo as one of the main members of the set. And before Ralo and Young Thug would become friends in the rap industry, their respective crews weren't always on the best of terms, as this one video from 2012 shows Famgoon members dissing Thug's Rock Crew, the predecessor of his YSL gang.
It's starting now, partner. Hey, YM is in the building, baby. You hear me? Thanking it, everything. Whole crew, baby. You hear me? Eat them up, nigga, starting, man. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, man. Straight up. Lil Woody, you too gonna smash. I'm gonna smash on your itty bit of. We out there every day, all day. The ball is in the building. Oh man, hold on. Hey, Doc. You know, YM4L, man. For real, YM4L, man. More life.
In fact, in one interview with DJ Small's Eyes, Ralo would even reminisce how every time he saw Thug out in Atlanta, he would try and shoot at him, saying he couldn't wait to kill him.
I know for my boy Young Thug, it's kind of special to me because me and Young Thug, we was beefing, you know what I'm saying? We came up in the streets beefing with each other. You know, if you on this side and you on that side, of course you're gonna beef, you know what I'm saying? He was from the other side. And like, everywhere I seen him, I shot at him. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't wait to kill him. I couldn't wait to shoot him.
Fortunately, later on, as both would make their way to the top of the Atlanta hip-hop hierarchy, Thug, with the help of his unique voice, delivery, and style, and Ralo's rise also boosted by his power and status in the city as allegedly one of the biggest dope dealers that Atlanta had since Big Meech. This would allegedly earn him access to some of the biggest artists in the city, like Future, from early on in his music career. Ralo would soon also begin to meet people from the same circles as Thug, and with the help of a mutual friend, they would overcome past beefs and even be seen making music together, as Ralo would explain in his 2016 Hot New Hip Hop interview.
The thing that changed the beef between Young Thug and I would have to be, it was a jeweler by the name of Elliot. He's a very close friend to him and I, and we used to talk about Thug, and he used to try to throw Thug up in my face, and I'd be like, bro, don't talk about that around me, don't bring that around me. When I see him, I'm gonna shoot the shit out of him. He already know what's happening, because Thug was actually, he went pop, but Thug was actually in the streets also. He didn't make it to levels that I made it to and gained power in the streets, but he gained a lot of power in this industry. And one day on the jeweler, Elliot, he was like, man, I know you ain't gonna wanna hear this about Thug, because you don't like hearing about it, but Thug said that Ralo he a real gangster. He deserve everything he got. And even if he don't f with me, I f with him. And it kind of like, that line right there kind of like stole my heart. So I was like, I called everybody, I'm like, man, guns down on Young Thug, I with him. He silent, then we started doing music together. We did videos, and he actually a good dude, you know what I'm saying? But you know, growing up in the streets, you know, if you against him, I'm against him too, you smell me? But he's actually a real good dude, silent, do anything for me.
Unfortunately for Ralo, his run in the music industry didn't last too long, because as it turned out, he would never actually stop his run in the dope industry. And in April 2018, after Ralo was caught red-handed flying in hundreds of pounds of weed with a private jet to Atlanta, he and his famgoon partners were indicted on some serious federal charges. And on top of that, his bond would be denied after claims were made that he was still running his drug empire from behind bars. But eventually, in 2022, Ralo would end up receiving an 8-year sentence, but with over 4 years credit already claimed in time served and 1.5 years taken off for good behavior according to his team, Ralo was already looking to get out the following year. Not a bad outcome altogether, considering the alleged size of his dope empire, with one of the key people in Ralo's case, funnily enough, having been the Atlanta super lawyer Brian Steele, the very same man who would end up getting Thug his incredibly favourable plea deal just a few years later. But only months before Ralo was about to leave prison and make a triumphant return to the streets of Atlanta, with a reputation as the realest rapper who really did what he rapped about and took his time on the chin, a rumour would begin to circulate that he had broken the holy street code too, as his former friend and famgoon member, John Doe, accused Ralo of snitching by replying to a #FreeRalo comment on Instagram with "Nah, keep that rat." Then, in April, Ralo released his mixtape, 97 Months, from behind bars. He explained that 97 months was the exact period of time that he served in prison, served without cooperating or getting his sentence reduced.
So, my biggest part about naming the project 97 months was due to the fact that was my sentence. I didn't get no charges reduced. I didn't get out a 5K1, meaning I wasn't cooperating. I didn't get no safety valve. I didn't qualify for none of that. None of the above shows that I had any sentence reduction whatsoever.
A mixtape that John Doe refused to support, even taking to social media to criticize anyone prioritizing money over principles and working with rats, eventually getting the paperwork and confronting Ralo over the phone. John expressed his disappointment in Ralo lying about keeping it solid for 5 years.
I'm reading your lawyer pleading on your behalf, trying to get this record sealed because of this information that you gave. You saying that you never said that you didn't do it, but you had me believing for 5 years that you kept it solid, dog.
In fact, according to the paperwork, Ralo had cooperated with authorities just 2 months after his arrest, even giving them access to his phone.
And in the paperwork, it say that in 2 months, y'all got locked up in April. In June 6th, you gave a proffer, and you gave up information. You gave them folk the code to your phone and let them review it in your presence. That what the paperwork say.
And despite Ralo's attempts to play down his cooperation, the paperwork alleged that he had provided information on heroin, meth, and marijuana operations and shootings.
Where it say he is cooperating against heroin, methamphetamine, he knows about shootings and the marijuana. That's what the transcript say.
His homie had expected him to do his time and stay solid.
All these rappers pay that money to get out of jail.
But we ain't these rap though. That what I'm
I got caught with it on the plane. Say, what the f you thought I was gonna do?
Take your lick. Like, it's just some weed. Well, okay. Look, listen. Remember when before you got locked up, I used to always tell you, "Hey, don't do this. Hey, don't do that. Hey,
I agree with you, Shay.
And you used to tell me, it's just some weed. So if it's just some weed, why you ain't just go in there and chin up?
But in some court transcripts of a hearing, his attorney, the great Brian Steele, was recorded telling the court that Ralo had provided information on a lot of people well known in the community, and insisting that the hearing be conducted under seal for security reasons. However, according to Ralo, this wasn't the full story, and he would take to social media to deny the snitching allegations, saying, "I hate to see us as people continue to kick one another down. Our government has been taking advantage of our weakness and using it against us. We should know by now that we're stronger together, and every enemy has weaknesses. When there's no loophole in a case, you gotta make a loophole. We must attack what they did wrong and focus less on our wrong. Never judge a book by its cover. Sometimes we have to read the entire book to know the truth behind the lies in the story. Know that everything isn't always what it seems to be. I never told y'all one lie in my life, and I swear by Allah that I never cooperated with the federal government. It's not one human being on earth that can say they in jail for Ralo. My dog food plug is dead, the person they accused of shooting for me is dead, and the other dude they questioned is dead. So they're not here to talk about it, and I'm ready to post all of the proof. Somebody make me an autobiography book cover, and I'm posting all the proofs now on Allah. He continued on the theme while Twitter reacted to the leaked call, hypothetically asking the question if paying someone to take a charge is considered snitching, hinting that whoever he had allegedly snitched on had received money in return for taking the charges. A statement that would go on to be contradicted by social media posts by 21 Savage, posting a picture of himself and Ralo, captioned, "The lawyer said you didn't tell on nobody but yourself," with Ralo responding, saying, "Can't nothing get past the goat of paperwork, 1090 Jake." This being a reference to an earlier video 1090 Jake had made about the situation.
Feds knew everything that they needed, so they want to know about murders and shootings, and Ralo isn't talking about it. So, in my opinion, I don't think he snitched.
It's sad how the whole world bashed me thinking I was a rat. I wasn't even going to respond until 21 Savage called my lawyer, asking did I cooperate. That stuff broke my heart, but I'm honored that he was able to hear the truth from other than me. Go follow and watch the homie YouTube video now, #FreeRalo. This was a vouch that at one point might have meant something, but as 21 Savage explained to Thug in their leaked phone call, he has no problem helping someone clean their face card for the right price.
I feel like you should have just made that come in. Like cleaned his face up and made him come in more. Like, if I need 80% of everything, 70%.
In order to further clear his name, Ralo released a preview of his autobiography, explaining that he was presented with an opportunity to pay someone to take his charge.
I ain't ratted on no goddamn man on this earth, dog. I was presented this situation where a person goddamn was willing to goddamn take somebody to take a charge for me, and goddamn, I wanted to go that route. And the only thing I have admitted to was trying to trick the feds and manipulate the feds. It's just how the game go, bro. You don't let the big dog go down, you take the fall for the man can stay out and eat, bro.
According to him, he had tried to lie to the feds and failed.
When I really got the drop or went through the experience of going federal, I knew right then these folks ain't nothing to play with. Like, I'm going in there trying to outsmart and finesse these people. These folks can't be finessed. I'm going in there motherfucking lying to these folks thinking that I can pay a nigga to take a charge. Like, these folks a whole different ball game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't even play with these folks. So
this resulted in a false cooperation that his attorney Brian Steele had later tried to keep under wraps. Ralo would bring his paperwork to academics to fully clear up his name, which included the district attorney indicating that Ralo's cooperation was a fabrication.
Specifically, the information given did not help the United States. I mean, that's the exonerating line, right? Specifically, the information given did not help the United States to identify nor locate the individuals mentioned in the illegal narcotics trafficking described above.
However, unfortunately, this trick to finesse the feds backfired in the long run, and even just these ambiguous allegations of potential snitching were enough to ruin Ralo's reputation in Atlanta. Thug and Ralo's relationship started off as ops, and according to Ralo, prior to being friends, he had fired actual gunshots at Thug on numerous occasions.
No homosexual, man. That my dog, man. I really honestly fell in love with that boy. Like, you know, me and him coming up, I shot at him. You know what I'm saying? A lot. Like, I was the bully or whatnot. And every time I seen him, I shot at him. You did. And like, we
Time
never.
out. When you say shot at him, you mean like
physical? I meant with a gun.
Pew.
Yeah.
Everybody
so,
got died.
You know, he from the other side. You know, if you from that side, you from that side and you from this side. You know
That's
what I'm
what
saying?
it is.
However, they would develop a genuine friendship over time. So following his release from prison, Ralo expected nothing but love from Thug. Lil Baby blessed Ralo with a $50,000 gift for his return home.
Another 50,000.
And with Thug behind bars, fighting the YSL RICO case, Ralo would even attend the trial to show support. But while Ralo was showing support to someone he believed was his friend, behind the scenes, his enemy turned friend was secretly still plotting against him. In August 2025, when Young Thug's interrogation footage leaked and his own snitching allegations started flying, it triggered a domino effect that would pit former allies against each other. Peewee Roscoe, the man who Thug spoke on extensively during his interrogation, would be the first to rush to Thug's defense online.
I ain't nothing tricking about that, man. Come on, man. I love you, Jeffrey. You kept it overly real. I had a 30 motherfucker, and only one I can look in the eye, because you know by law, you my only co-defendant, man. Come on, man.
At some point, Peewee turned his attention to Ralo and used him as a public example of what he considered a true snitch.
How can you make something that is not? Like, you feel what I'm saying? Yeah, Ralo is a rat. Yeah, when you got your paperwork sealed in 5-1, come on, man. When you walk the federal compound, there before they say you couldn't take your paperwork off the pound, all that cap. Come on, man.
Now that his name had been pulled into Thug's business for no reason, Ralo wasn't willing to back down. He hilariously clapped back at Roscoe, calling him a broke, unemployed D-rider.
It's a sad day in Atlanta right now. We have an old homeless dude by the name of Roscoe who has lost his Section 8 apartment due to the fact he was found guilty of crime in the first degree. I no longer think that his sugar daddies would support his living arrangements due to the fact that the Department of Labor have cut off his unemployment check and he lost his disability benefits and he do not qualify for any Social Security benefits because riding is not a real job in the state of Georgia.
In turn, Ralo dragged Peewee's own past snitching allegations into the light.
What he did in jail? What Roscoe do in jail?
He told on the phone they took his glasses.
What they took from him?
His glasses.
They took Roscoe glasses.
And he told the police on the phone. And
Academics would post Ralo's paperwork on his behalf with the message that he was ready to throw hands. And he would quote one of Thug's tweets with these documents, which supported Ralo's claims that he had deliberately lied to the feds, with the paperwork saying outright that the information given by Ralo was deemed chicanery, with the definition of chicanery being the use of trickery to achieve a political, financial, or legal purpose. The paperwork Ralo posted suggested that the state were told that the subject of Ralo's statement remains unknown and stash houses that were pointed out were found by the police to be abandoned buildings. It would go on to state that there's no reasonable grounds to believe that Ralo's information was truthful, and it would go on to state specifically that the information that he gave did not help the United States to identify or locate the individuals mentioned in the trafficking conspiracy that they were after. They would go on to state that the information given by Ralo lacked credibility, specifically Ralo's statement that his plug or drug supplier was dead, and pointing out numerous alleged instances of Ralo attempting to use trickery or outright refusal to answer questions following his arrest on an airplane with dope on board. Later on, Ralo would also accuse Young Thug of interfering in his relationships with other artists, pointing to a disturbing pattern of slimy behavior, starting all the way back with Thug's relationship with Lil Wayne and Birdman.
The first thing Thug did was try to turn Birdman against Lil Wayne. Take his album name, try to motherfucker, lame. Then he tell on that's supposed to handle the business. When he got in there, why he had the name? I don't even want to do no lame like that and speak on it, but he ain't had to name him motherfucker album the bottle or nothing. That's everybody know Lil Wayne is Lil Wayne. He the mother go. Everybody know he had Carter 1, 2, 3. I'm just giving you emphasis from beginning to the end. All he ever did was do lame shit. The whole mother is about this doing lame.
Ralo would call out Thug for trying to turn the world against Rich Homie Quan and YFN Lucci.
Then he turned on Rich Homie Quan, tried to turn the whole world against Rich Homie Quan. Then he turned around and took the whole motherfucking world against YFN Lucci. Whole world. Everybody go against Lucci.
And then once Thug started beefing with Atlanta rapper Future, Ralo started getting calls about that, and once Gunna started surpassing people in the industry, Thug turned everyone against him.
Then he turned around, he was beefing with Future, calling my phone. Future, calling Future, like going back and forth on the motherfucking net. Boom. Then he turned around, he see Gunna surpassing everything in the industry. Now he called to the street, turned everybody in the world against motherfucking Gunna.
Ralo would even claim that Thug had convinced Lil Baby to distance himself from Ralo.
Then, me and Lil Baby, we go to the motherfucking dentist. I'm getting my teeth. Then, you know, Lil Baby walking me home. He happy to see me. Old Thug. He pull another evil stunt.
He pointed at the glaring hypocrisy and double standards, specifically regarding the treatment of Gunna and the very concept of snitching.
First of all, if you did that, why in the f*** is you so against all rats? You talk Kid Cudi, you going super rat crazy, yet you don't want any motherfucker. Okay, let's just say, Thug, you did make a mistake and tell. Why the f*** you ain't saying, goddamn, Gunna made a mistake? So basically saying, you can make a mistake and do some lame shit, but Gunna can't make a mistake and do some lame shit. Oh, just like you said, it ain't about you telling, it's about who told. Like, come on, man, like, this shit ain't cool. Like, what he doing is 100% wrong.
But perhaps his biggest allegation yet came when Ralo accused Young Thug of deliberately sowing division and discord within the Atlanta music scene to serve his own selfish desires.
All this did, everything that done happened in Atlanta, everybody going against each other. Why? Because his been doing nothing but around the wall. He thought he was Pablo Escobar. He sitting there like he John got or something. You're a street. You ain't did nothing in these streets. You ain't put in no work. Woody put in all the work.
In the end, Ralo's confrontation with Young Thug would prove to be far more significant than just rap beef or the snitching controversy. It painted a disturbing portrait of Young Thug as perhaps a calculated puppet master who had spent years orchestrating chaos within the city's hip-hop community for his own benefit and to feed his narcissism. But more importantly, it's safe to say that the streets of Atlanta would never look at Young Thug the same, as the man once considered to be the realest rapper in the city ultimately turned out to be one of its most duplicitous frauds. Now, to end it off, while Atlanta's reputation in the streets has pretty much gone through the gutter in recent days, with the name RATLANTA going viral, there are of course also rappers from this mecca of trap music who really did keep it real and never folded under pressure when it came to coming face to face with the law. And who better to mention first when talking about such solid rappers than Mr. Zone 6, the trap god East Atlanta Santa, Mr. I'm not a rapper, I'm a frickin' grave digger, the big goo wop aka Gucci Mane LaFleur himself. Gucci Mane, real name Radrick Davis, has become the quintessential godfather of the Atlanta trap scene, and to many, the best example of what it means to keep it real, having preached his stance against snitching since the very beginning of his rap career that now spans 2 decades.
I never wrote a statement on one, and I never will. That's how I feel. I'm a true G. I know.
On May the 10th, 2005, at the peak of his feud with fellow Atlanta rapper Jeezy, 5 men allegedly attempted to rob Gucci Mane following a $10,000 bounty being placed on his ice cream cone chain, a claim that appeared in Jeezy's Stay Strapped diss track towards Gooch. Acting in what he claimed was self-defense, Gucci retrieved a weapon and fired at his assailants, ending a robbery attempt and killing 1 man, Henry Clark III, better known in the streets as Pookie Loke, whose body would even be found days later in the yard of a local middle school. Shortly after, police would put out a warrant for Gucci's arrest, and 9 days after the incident on May the 19th, 2005, Gucci would voluntarily surrender to police investigators, maintaining that the shots fired by him were in self-defense, posting bail less than a week after and eventually beating the case, becoming one of the few rappers with the so-called legal body under his belt. This early experience set the pattern for what would become a recurrent theme throughout Gucci's career, as he would maintain his anti-snitching principles even when faced with serious charges. Throughout his numerous arrests and street battles, Gucci famously maintained that he would never snitch, a position that arguably resulted in lengthier incarcerations.
Won't snitch on. We stand down for ourselves. Like, if I gotta go, I'm gonna go. I done went before. I don't want to snitch on to save my nobody's life, not even my own. I die if I snitch on. That's on my mom.
After one wild codeine-induced public crash-out period around 2013, Gucci would eventually in 2014 land himself in federal prison, being sentenced for firearm charges and facing a substantial amount of time behind bars during the peak of his career. But eventually in 2016, Gucci Mane emerged a free man without having cooperated with authorities, and more importantly, like Gunna, a new man who had left drugs and other bad vices behind him for good, focusing instead on what truly mattered: his health, getting in impeccable shape, swapping the lean gut for a chiseled six-pack, his family, and his career, and returning to music as a true powerhouse in the industry. But Gucci is far from the only Atlanta rapper known for staying solid even in hard times. Sterling Penix Jr., or Hood Rich Pablo Juan as he's professionally known, is a newer generation Atlanta rapper who, just like Gucci, had stayed true to the street code, building his career through a string of mixtapes before actually signing to Gucci Mane's 1017 Records. Pablo Juan's trajectory, however, was derailed in October 2020 when he was swept up in a major RICO investigation targeting the Rollin' 20s neighborhood Bloods gang. The sweep resulted in 45 arrests, with Pablo Juan being hit with 92 RICO counts, 59 Georgia street gang terrorism charges, plus additional counts for trafficking methamphetamine and dog food, as well as kidnapping, murder, and aggravated assault along with his co-defendants. But rather than cooperate with authorities, Hood Rich Pablo Juan maintained his stance and ultimately accepted a plea, resulting in a 15-year sentence, with 5 to be served in prison and 10 on strict probation. Still dedicated to music though, Hood Rich Pablo Juan continued dropping even behind bars and is now set for release in October 2025. Peewee Longway, real name Quincy Williams, is another face of Atlanta rap who's built a solid anti-snitching reputation in the city. Initially also signed to Gucci Mane's 1017 Records, like pretty much all of the city's most talented rappers at one point in their career, he would go on to form MPA Bandcamp, standing for Money, Pounds and Ammunition, after Gucci's 2014 incarceration, and ultimately carving his own path as an artist and businessman. But similar to Gucci and Hood Rich, Peewee has faced multiple legal challenges over the years, most recently in September 2024 when he was arrested during Operation Sweet Silence, a massive law enforcement operation in Columbus, Georgia. The operation deployed 250 agents in the bust, resulting in the seizures of 7.1 kilos of fentanyl, 57 kilos of coke, 55,000 pounds of marijuana, and 1.5 kilograms of dog food, all worth an estimated $200 million. As far as the public knowledge goes throughout his career, there haven't been any snitching allegations attached to Peewee Longway's name, although his specific involvement in recent charges remains unclear. So at a time in Atlanta when it seems like everybody and their grandmother are still talking to the feds, cutting deals, and pointing fingers, it's also fair to point out that Atlanta still has a few real ones left. For some reason, over the last few years, hip-hop has become obsessed with exposing snitches. I don't know where this came from. Hip-hop has really been obsessed with the streets for decades now. Ever since the drill wave, it became obsessed with bodies. And to be honest, probably since 6ix9ine blew up as a blood and then turned on the whole gang and locked them away, the entire hip-hop scene just seems desperate to work out whether people are snitches or not. I've said it before in other videos on my second channel, but I truly believe that this is an all-or-nothing situation. If Young Thug is a snitch because he sat down with investigators for 2 hours and explained the context behind crimes and called out Peewee Roscoe by name as having carried free drugs and broken the law every day, but didn't actually end up putting anyone behind bars specifically, that's a grey area. You could say that's snitching, or you could say it was spinning the police. The same way that you could say that Gunna taking his plea and saying yes ma'am when investigators asked him if YSL was a gang and he had knowledge of crimes, it's another grey area. I think you either have to say that everyone's a snitch and it doesn't matter and we can keep enjoying the music, or that nobody's a snitch and that nobody's qualified to point out if somebody's a snitch unless they were on that case with them. I know this is ironic coming from me, but I personally find it really strange just how obsessed people are with snitching. I think this street mentality that snitches are the worst people on earth is honestly just kind of dumb. At the end of the day, I got into gangster rap and drill music because of the music, because of the stories, and because of the connections that I made to these artists by listening to their art. If Young Thug snitched and Gunna snitched, I really don't care. I'm still going to be listening to the music. All of Gunna's releases since he got out and took his plea have been absolutely fire, and if Young Thug releases another album or another song soon, I'm going to listen to it. I'm probably going to put it on the playlist, and I'm probably going to enjoy it, and you should too. Hip-hop was wrong to ostracize Gunna for what he did, and Young Thug was wrong to push that narrative and try and destroy him. The main reason people were angry at Young Thug was because after his interrogation audio leaked, it really just made him look like a huge hypocrite. I think that's what this is all about. People are really hating on Young Thug now because he's a hypocrite. He is a giant hypocrite. I don't think even he understands. People aren't hating him because he's a snitch. They're hating him because he went so hard on the anti-snitching narrative for what was essentially a reach, and now that we've heard him podding it up with detectives for close to 2 hours himself, we can apply the same rules to Thug. And at the end of the day, this whole anti-snitching narrative really just holds people back from doing better with their lives. I've never been in the streets, I never intend to be, and going forward, I think the rappers and fans and gangsters need to really recalibrate what they believe is important in life. I hope you found this video interesting. Peace out.